Sit down. Everybody remain seated where you are.
Hey man, so you put me on?
Yeah.
Then why isn't alcohol made illegal? Flowers and grass. Like juice freaks get hangers and cirrhosis in the liver. Besides, grass is a habit forming like alcohol. Besides, that cigarette much worse. Right, man. As much as you want.
Have a party. There's nothing wrong with grass. Yeah. 1,000 times. You'll never go to harder drugs.
Don't take any films of me. You're not going to use them anyway.
Well, speak your mind, then.
Okay, I will. No one has the right to tell me what I can do with my own body, what I can eat, drink, or smoke. This is a free country, and no one has the right to take away my constitutional right.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. Tell you about DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the dream. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, sentient, artificial intelligence, flora and fauna alike, to the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Steve-O, what a week, buddy.
Oh, what a week. Again, we just keep stringing these weeks along, one after the other. I love these damn Hoosiers. And Mondays are for the Hoosiers. Mondays are for the Hoosiers. I want everyone to give themselves a real big round of applause and a pat on the back at home, okay? Because I've been wetter than a hen in a hornet's nest. What is it?
You madder than a wet hen?
I'm mad and horny. I'm madder than a hornet on a wet hen. I'm so mad I'm a wet hen on a hornet's back. I'm mad right now, Craig. I have it. I had something. I can't shake it. You know I'm working over at Sweetleaf.
I do.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I play a lot of guitar, and like we're kind of creating a vibe. I feel like I'm helping create a vibe.
Creating a vibe.
I don't know, it's weird for me. I like just being there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But one of the benefits I get from being there on the front lines of the cannabis healthcare system, because that's one thing I didn't realize until I started to hang out at a head shop. Head shops are always kind of like, oh, there's Mike over there. And it's like, oh, God, a guy like Mike's going into a head shop. I'm not going in there. You see him?
Yeah, I see him,
see
man.
See his Bin Laden beard over there? What's he getting in there? He's going to get brass knuckles. He's going to get a porno poster that glows in the black light. And he's going to buy probably some stuff to smoke some god dang ganja out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the way head shops were looked at. Now
means
being
he's
inside
a criminal.
He's a criminal. That's it. That you just said it. When you go into a head shop, everyone assumes you're a criminal, right? I would feel sketchy walking out of them. I'm like, is a cop gonna pull me over and be like, you got paraphernalia? Be like, not yet. You know, like, what's up? What's
clean, dude.
I know. What's up?
It's clean.
What can I do? It's clean. And you point down at your, like, it's clean. Yeah. We are gonna get to Missouri Madman bloopers and our actual reel later. I've gotten more calls and texts.
It's hilarious that the blooper
Madman
reel is
way more
catching on a little bit more. People they're happy to tune into us make asses of ourselves, Steve.
The head shops are the front line of the cannabis industry right now. We're waiting for dispensaries.
Have been,
man. And head shops, opening your head, expanding. LSD, they've been on the record. Mushrooms, you know, it's all implied there that, hey, man, come get weird with us, you know? Well, you can get your cards there. Okay.
Yeah.
You can get your medical marijuana certification card, and you can apply for it there. They got computers set up. Well, a little old lady comes in there, doesn't have the internet, has stage 3, I want to say either cancer or like kidney failure.
Okay.
I couldn't even understand the diagnosis, like one of those where you're like, oh, Jesus, Lord. She's just trying to get her card. And God bless her friend. And you know me, I even made a joke at the end. Her friend was with her the whole day through this, okay? Her friend was with her the whole day, walking her. She was not getting her card. She had already had it. She is there out of the kindness of her soul to spend an entire day getting this card, because that's how long it ended up taking, with the doctors being on lunch and not having the internet. And it opened my eyes so much to, I got a damn ass tattoo, friendo. I got an ass tattoo.
I watched it. I synced it.
It didn't propel us into fame or anything.
No, we thought for sure
it
it was going to really game the system,
it was going to get the likes that I needed to make a living off this thing we do, people. It didn't work, all right? I'm going to be quite honest with you. It didn't work. It fucking didn't work. I got a fucking tattoo on my fucking butt. And it's there forever. It's there forever, guys. I'm not going to let it get me down, though, because I love that tattoo. And I love what it stands for. And I love getting people medicine. But the process to get medicine...
You got real tears, dude. That was a good job. That was a good job, buddy. That's how you get awards.
I am the Matthew McConaughey of my generation.
All right.
Did you smell this, though? Have you smelled these? They kind of smell...
Oh, yeah. You had them at the head shop, didn't you? It smells like a little nog. Mine smells like nog.
Smells like a little nog. I smell like that when I come home. I like it.
I'll just put my nose in.
I smell like someone who can't get a job. I smell like someone who's never going to get a job, real job. So seeing what the process that these two people had to go through to get their card was just ridiculous.
Well, and you have to remember that this is actually like the easiest process, right? Like there are people that have made it.
They don't have the internet.
So incredibly easy to use, and what we take for granted, we talk about all the time with what we know about cannabis, or because it's something that buddy, I found myself in the middle of a couple of I told myself I wasn't going to do this anymore. I found myself in the middle of a couple of little internet debates, if you will. I like to mix it up on these drug bust posts that these different police departments post, because there is a really nice opportunity to maybe educate some people and drive home the fact that this is not a partisan issue, that the drug war affects all creeds and all races. And
even when it seems like it's getting better, they're still kicking you in the nuts once a week.
Yeah.
It's like 7 days a week getting kicked in the nuts, in the chode.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a chode.
And they're not like the hardest kicks. They're not, but
they can be.
But you're still getting kicked in the
drug
nuts.
war kicks some people in the chode
Totally.
with an iron-toed boot, baby, that has like a 4-inch knob at the top of it with a little crown of thorns, and it goes right into your chode, man, and it goes boop right in there and ruins your whole life, man.
That's
just
true.
from a kick to the chode. That's the drug war, all in a nutshell. Kicks to the chode.
We got to talk about the war on drugs. It's something that is a little static feedback. Okay. I think it's their speaker crackling.
I'm gonna. That's on you, homie. That's on you. That's on you, homie. I just listened to that. Hey, it's crystal clear. Don't be coming in here.
We got gear. We're professionals. You don't talk to us like that.
Let me make sure though, because
Listen.
Yeah.
We need to talk
That's
about
on
the war
him.
on drugs because it is important, and it's one of these things that I was at the river yesterday, sitting down, having a lovely conversation with my brother-in-law, Brennan England. Shout out to the Cola Lounge, the first consumption lounge here in Missouri, doing big things. for the cannabis.
What's the legality
community.
on that? Can I get into
Not-
that?
I'm not informed enough to be
What
able
the
to comment.
We
on
should
it.
have a ton of those.
But what we got to talking about was, we were talking about just different race issues, things like that, but also like how I can be of best service to it, right? Like for me, I find where my intersection is, right? My intersection with the disparity and the way that we police, drug enforcement and things like that. It affects people that don't look like me at a rate that is exponential to people that do look like me. However, this is my
Look like complete assholes.
this is my intersection.
Blazers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
flat bills.
yeah, dude. I dressed like Steve for our sing along at Truman's place.
Why does he sing?
Why does he say that? Why is he gonna do that?
Why does he do
That's what that was my. Listen, the point is like I just wanted to. I want to find where I can be equally invested in not equally invested, equally affected by a problem, right? Like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be patronizing. Like when it comes to something as difficult or as nuanced as race relations or anything like that. But one thing that I know that affects people of color worse than it even affects me is the war on drugs. And guys, some of the stats that we're going to throw out at you tonight are going to open your mind. And the thing is where I got to be better is not getting chippy, because if you argue so much with people who don't agree with you, and prohibitionists in general are very, very hard to argue with, because it's just not based in any kind of logic or factual science or anything. It's based on the same, and it's also something I don't blame people for believing, because we've been fed a line for 50 years. We've been fed lines about what something is, right?
A lion fed us lines.
I'll eat us.
Darren the lion.
Darren the lion.
Fed us
Darren
lines.
the dare lion.
That's where I got all my info.
100%.
How about those statistics where people were more likely to do drugs after the DARE program?
Well,
We're more likely to do drugs.
Anecdotally,
Your story.
Anecdotally, me. Like there couldn't have been
Sorry
a
to
worse.
get you off topic.
No. My point is, I was talking to him. We were talking about race relations and how that is such a difficult topic. And I can agree. It's very easy. Of course, Black Lives Matter. And right now, we have something very real to focus on. Like there are policing tactics that are affecting people that, because of the way that they look, they're more likely to be in one of these confrontations with the law at a much higher clip than someone that looks like me.
It's a tentacle of the drug war. One of the tentacles
100%.
comes and plucks people of color out of their families. And
Yeah.
we've read the quote from Nixon's advisor where they said, yeah, that's what we were doing. We were trying to destroy the core of
Of
families.
hippies and blacks, basically, is exactly what they said. I mean, word verbatim, right?
Yes.
And so for me, we got talking about it, and it's like, okay, if this is a huge problem that affects this overarching community, then if all of us pick up a broom and sweep our corner, if we all can just clean up our little intersection where we are vested in that particular part, well, then I think we'll see sweeping change. I don't think there's any one thing we can.
Sweeping and
I don't. Oh, that was unintended.
I know.
Unintentional
I
pun,
know.
bud. Unintentional pun. We need a bell.
Wow.
We need not a bell, but we need
That was good.
Unintentional pun button for sure.
that was the
But
first time it's ever happened.
I'm just trying to figure out where I fit in to affect positive change in the community. Something that is near and dear to our hearts it started with cannabis. It started with seeing it heal children, and also like our own anecdotal experience, our own personal experiences.
When did it start
subjective
for you?
experiences.
When do you think the moment you were like, whoa, I was lied to?
Oh well, the very first time I ever. That's something we can throw out to the fans too. But the very first time I ever got high, not the first time I smoked cannabis. Remember that old adage? People would be like, the first time you might not feel anything.
Yeah.
Of course, we were all smoking brick trash at the time.
Yeah, and I
was
didn't
like-
know how to inhale anything.
But even then, like, you probably didn't know what to look for. But I remember the first time I was actually intoxicated from cannabis, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is what they've been warning me about. Like,
I know.
okay, so
you ever
but
have
it
a thing-
didn't click though. It still didn't click. I had in my mind, okay, it was just this one thing, right?
See, I thought,
and then-
well, if this isn't bad, what else isn't that bad? Which I was like, that's a terrible mindset to have. Like,
in the back
we
of my
look bad,
mind,
I wonder how Oxycontin is.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the back of my mind, I always had it kind of like all of the music that I loved as a kid was very psychedelically, inspired. And then also,
You listen to Schwangel as a
lot of
kid?
movies. No Schwangel as a kid, but I was, I exclusively listened to the Beatles forever.
Yeah.
And my favorite
Magical
period of the
Mystery
Beatles
Tour.
was after Magical Mystery Tour. Like, the doo-wop
Lucy in the
Beatles
Sky
were
with
great,
Diamonds.
but like once that happened and then Sgt. Pepper's and everything, I'm like, what are these fucking guys on?
I know.
What are these guys on? This is
I
great.
want some.
And
I want
then
some.
like I segued into Pink Floyd, and my friend had me watching the wall, and I'm like, how do people even imagine this crazy?
And then Zeppelin got you into a real Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, really.
You were dressing like Bilbo.
I was dressing like a hobbit from the Shire. I was.
That was a good time. That was a good time.
So I'm not sure exactly when it clicked. Now, I still kind of maybe had this idea, and this is something that if I could change anything about how we communicate about drugs online or whatever, is the cannabis community in general is really guilty of this, which it's always like, it's safer than fucking meth. They shouldn't be spending their time busting weed. They should be busting heroin. Well, it's like, well, I certainly understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's also not true. Like, that's like, and so my penchant for liberty kind of, got me like, well, wait a minute. What is my logical understanding of that, right? Because I don't have experience with these particular drugs, personal experience, because I've just seen enough people kind of fall victim to it that it's never. Listen, what? The reason I never did heroin.
You shot up heroin 5 minutes before the show.
The reason I never did heroin was because I was afraid that it was going to be too good. Like everybody who was a heroin addict, all of my favorite music from the 90s, all of these guys were like major heroin users. Great blues musicians. Like there was, but every one of them said that they just always chased this one time, and it was like the best
Chasing
thing
the
ever. And it's
dragon,
like,
man.
for me, it's like,
Well, so many functioning drug addicts, like high functioning drug
then
addicts.
as I start kind of looking into this more and more, I'm realizing that really all of the negative opinions I have of drug use in general have all been based in a fear campaign, right? And that's something that, and I know this is like really hard for people to digest, like friends and family like who have seen drugs tear their families apart or lost loved ones to overdose or anything. Like, I understand why this is a triggering conversation. But when you get the numbers and you start to dive into it and you see what it looks like policing a war on drugs versus treating it like a health problem that it is, and that's something that we're going to have to figure out. We don't have a socialized medicine model in the United States, which some European countries who have tried decriminalization and treating it as health, they do have kind of programs set up like that. What we're learning is like arresting people, criminalizing people for the simple possession of things has not improved our usage rates. It has not improved the number of deaths that are happening. And
it's not about that. It's become a cycle to make money, man.
And a huge number of, I lost my train of thought there. People are talking about your little grindy grind.
You were talking about
there is a huge number of people who.
You got it. Come on, you got it. Come on, let's do this thing. Let's rework this. Mike, what were we talking about? Mike, you
gotta
weren't
keep
paying
us on track.
attention. You didn't do one of the goddamn things here.
Usage rates.
Thank you.
Usage rates have not gone down. Death rates. Oh, and a huge swath of the opioid deaths are from legally prescribed medicines.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, whether or not they've been misused, that's irrelevant, because you could make that argument for any substance you're going to put in your body, right? Or anything that you can buy and possess. Is like, you could buy incense, but if you use it in a way that's not incense, you could hurt yourself.
You could trick your roommate into smoking it in college and make him think it's opium. I did that to a guy one time.
So, all right. So really, what it all comes down to is education. We're going to keep putting this information out there, I started going blow for blow with these people who are like, you mean even fentanyl and meth? Well, yeah, like I do even mean that. I do mean that we shouldn't be criminalizing people for simple possession of things because it just doesn't logically make sense. I should be able to own anything. If I commit a criminal act with said thing or under the influence of said thing, then you can treble the charges. Then you can figure out a way to bring more charges on me. But the simple possession of something should not be grounds for arrest or for potential jail time. There are people doing life sentences for possession.
It's fucking unreal. This
It's
country
insane.
was built on tobacco farmers because people had to get their fix back in Europe. It's the only thing these freaking Puritans came off the boat. Luckily, the Native Americans taught them how to plant crops, putting fish in the soil. Otherwise, them freaking the vanilla bastards. It's sexual. I'm talking about sexual. They had a lot of kids, but I doubt they were fucking doing it in the bedroom like like we're doing it. Not me and him, like we're doing in today's current climate. But this country was built on the fact
Bootleggers
of
and hemp
being an
farmers.
outlaw, man.
Well,
and now we're just like, and
It was
I don't know if it's
built-
outlaw.
It was built on a place where people could
You
come
can
and
be free.
grow
You
a
can come and
product,
be free.
make a product, sell a
Steal a
product,
little land.
offer value to someone that someone's willing to give money or some kind of fair trade for. Like the idea that you're going to criminalize it and kill a market is insane. Did you know that the international drug trade makes up 8% of all of the money in circulation? 8%. That's from just drug cartels moving illegal drugs around the world.
And that's probably a low
And of
end
course,
estimate.
it's a low end estimate. That's just what they can maybe guess at,
Concede
based
to.
on what they're finding. Exactly. Every 25 seconds in America, someone's arrested for drug
Quaker
possession.
Steve.
The number of Americans arrested for possession has tripled since 1980, reaching 1.3 million arrests in 2015. That's 6 times the number of arrests than there are for drug sales. This is just possession.
It's a great system. Think about it from someone who is in a private prison complex or someone who's in our criminal justice system. They are all stuck in a machine that works very efficiently, not at the task it was prescribed, not at that task. It is turned into a wheel of greed and the lack of empathy. The lack of empathy that is shown, it becomes a giant story when a lawyer goes and takes like a case and takes an interest into someone who didn't do the crime. Becomes a big story. Like, whoa. When it's like there are so many people in jail, not only for the drug war, but also who didn't even do anything or were. How long are we going to allow people, or law enforcement, to be like, oh, I smell weed, or I smelled the aroma of an intoxicant, marijuana, or I see the hands. All of this stuff that leads to, well, drugs are illegal. They could be doing drugs. Now your life is ruined because I created a tense situation. It's creating bullshit for our law enforcement, and it's creating bullshit for poor people.
Imagine
that's what the war on drugs does. It destroys our law enforcement. It does. If we took away the war on drugs and our officers weren't in charge of that shit, and I know they talk about,
I think it would
this guy's
improve.
on PCP. Do you think a social worker is going to come
First of
over
all,
there and take him?
phenethylamines have a really bad rap. PCP has all kinds
I know.
of great positive uses.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway,
I just like to say it because it's like, it is the DARE program.
No doubt.
That was the crazy
100%.
one. That was the one I was like, I'll try them all. PCP?
I don't know.
I'm Zeus!
Incarcerating people for drug-related offenses, Steve, has been shown to have little impact on misuse rates. Instead, incarceration is linked with increased mortality from overdose. In the first 2 weeks after their release from prison, individuals from prison are almost 13 times more likely to die than the general population is.
You know what the deal is? My anecdotal story, went into prison, got off drugs while he was in prison, or couldn't do as much because he could still get drugs.
His old dose.
Came out, did his old dose, OD'd immediately.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, how often does that happen to people? Or it has a little something mixed in there, because that was a big deal for a while, and that's like, it's diluted the whole thing because we've been told these stories too, like, watch out for your weed, man. Could be laced with something. Watch out for this. It's like, you know how you eliminate all of that, or at least try to? Like, you don't have prohibition on all this stuff. It's if prohibition, if we had all of the drugs out of the country, I'd be like, oh shit, prohibition kind of works. Like,
yeah, but it just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Like, okay,
you're trying to control
dealers
people
don't
who
make
can't be
markets.
controlled.
Like, willing and ready consumers make markets, right? And then if you can make that product available, then people will find a way to buy it. And in the face of people of charges being, harsher and putting people away longer, it doesn't stop people from. For some people, it's the only way out. It's the only way to get on top of the rat race, right? Like, for some people who, generationally have seen their parents sell drugs, or, there are people who think this is the only way out from not being a statistic, as long as I can beat the game long enough, And so
And prohibition with alcohol has become this, like, glorified gangsters and good guys and bad
ridiculous.
guys, and NASCAR came from the bootleggers. And I love all of that.
Me
but
too.
we totally, as Americans, we go, alcohol, you're your own
I'll take it a
little
step further,
thing.
dude. Caffeine.
Totally, dude.
Like
Well,
that.
I don't
At
know
what
the
at
step
what
further,
point?
but-
Well, only insofar as people.
I'm all jacked up on
Yeah,
caffeine.
people like
I'm gonna drive my
they're
car.
It's selective reasoning.
Yes.
Because they have an experience with a drug like caffeine or nicotine or alcohol, and otherwise find themselves functioning regularly in public in their day-to-day lives. It can't be that bad of a deal. Any of these people that have come in that haven't come in contact with harder drugs, quote unquote, they can't even possibly. Their frame of reference for drug use is every mugshot of a meth head too far gone, or a heroin addict too far gone, or every a news story about an opiate overdose or anything like that. They can't wrap their heads around,
dude,
how many people are functioning addicts, especially when it comes to methamphetamines.
But look at coke and crack. Crack was like, no, that's the street drug that people of color do in the ghettos, and white crackheads and everybody crackheads,
Well, that's the deal.
And then cokeheads in Wall Street? Oh, that's a totally different thing there, buddy.
If you tune into the RNC, dude, if you tune into the RNC, you got to see some very rich people in power yacked out of their fucking gourds. No problem with it. I don't
no
even care.
problem with it.
I don't even care. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. But anyway, just going on all of these different things, then it becomes a fact that it's a way to keep
static is real.
The poor in society separate from the other. Look at the way that different people are charged differently. Steve, we talk about it all the time. We talk about how a ticket can ruin our day. There was a time, like, it's still rough from time to time. I just did it. It's still rough from time to time. But there are people who can't afford just the ticket, a simple possession ticket. They don't show up. What are we billing? What are we dinging? What are we dinging?
He's digging us because we got a good quote.
Oh, very good. Very good. Look at Portugal. They legalized all drugs, and it literally fixed all of their biggest problems with overdoses, thefts, vehicle accidents, homelessness, recovery, education, etc. We are going to look at Portugal a little bit. We're going to talk about Portugal. And again, they are at a bit of I don't know if I want to say advantage or whatever, but their system is set up a little bit better to make a radical shift and be able to allow the government to provide these programs. However, the cost that we are putting into the criminal drug war would more than offset what it would take to put a safe drug use program, drug education program together. I think that those costs would offset one another. And that's the whole thing, is there's no ledger at the federal government where they're like, well, we can take away from here to pay from here. It's like, just print it. Run the printers. You doing all right? Yeah, the static's getting you, isn't it, bud? It's all good. Racial disparities. Black Americans are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana charges than their white peers. In fact, Black Americans make up nearly 30% of all drug-related arrests, despite accounting for only 12.5% of all substance users. So there will be people who will rush to say, you know, white people get arrested for drugs too, and this is more about the war on the poor. Yeah, kind of. Except not at the rate that they're doing. Not at there is definitely, if you have to acknowledge that at least a little bit of profiling is going on, and yes, it's probably happening in neighborhoods where you're more likely, where people are more likely to, be below the poverty line or at or below the poverty line.
We're gonna have
100%.
to fix this static issue. It's bad.
Black Americans are nearly 6 times more likely to be incarcerated for drug-related offenses than their white counterparts. So they're 4 times more likely to be arrested, 6 times more likely to be incarcerated. And almost 80% of people serving time for a federal drug offense are black or Latino. In state prisons, people of color make up 60% of those serving time for drug charges. Guys, it's insane, the amount of people that are going in there. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to flip over to give you kind of some quick hitters here. We have spent over $1 trillion on the war on drugs since 1971. Last year, in 2019, our budget for drug control was $30 billion. So you would be hard-pressed to convince me that even without a social model, healthcare model, we could not approach this in a different way. $30 billion. We spend $9.2 million a day incarcerating drug offenders. There has to be something better that we can do with our time. There has to be a better way to educate people. There has to be a better way to figure all of this out. The potential annual savings on drug law enforcement and incarceration costs from the legalization of drugs is $41.3 billion. That's every year. $41.3 billion we could save by switching this model over. Guys, it's crazy. More Americans died of drug overdoses in 2017 than the total number of casualties in the Vietnam War. 68% of the 72,000 deaths involved opioids. And that is not just heroin and fentanyl and street drugs. That is legally prescribed medicines from the fucking Sackler family and all of these other people that are a part of the opium cartel that's been around for 150 years. Guys, it is unbelievable that they're not considered a cartel, right? They're not considered big drug pushers. We got to worry about the big bad cartels down in South America and Central America. Those are the ones you got to worry about. Forget the dude that wears a suit on Wall Street that's peddling opioids out there, and insurance companies are paying for it. The federal government itself is subsidizing payments for these drugs that people then end up misusing and killing themselves on. It's unbelievable. We're going to come at you with this shit all the time. Let's see here. Coke got my uncle over 10 years in prison. They are disgusting statistics.
Do you know about what happened to the women at Sweet Leaf?
Oh, finish the story. They got her fixed up.
They got her taken care of?
Mm-hmm. We got her all fixed up. But Steve's just talking about how we take for granted that, things like high-speed internet, and I mean, in the more rural areas throughout the state, like, people need this help.
Plug it in.
All right,
Let's see what we got.
take over.
How we doing? I think we gotta hear that. I wouldn't listen to that if I was a fan. I think we gotta shut it down and bring it back out. Yeah, right. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, we got to. We gotta shut it down and start back over and figure out that static.
No. Fucking deal with it. You're listening to a Zoom podcast. No, we're not doing that. What are you talking about? I don't even hear it. It sounds great through your phone.
No, it's rough. It's rough. It's
Anyway,
tough.
tell them a story. Sounds great. What are you talking about? Are you on acid right now? Yeah, it sounds great on YouTube.
Is
It's
it
Facebook. It's Facebook. Deal with it. You want to go to Twitch? Go to YouTube.
I don't like your tone.
Yeah,
First
go to
off and
Twitch, go to
foremost, I don't
YouTube,
like his
go to
tone
Twitter.
was all wrong there. That was on Twitch. Said it sounds good on YouTube.
It sounds good. I'm not not worried
How are
about
we
it.
doing that? It's not bad on YouTube. Is Steve's phone close to the
Steve,
mic?
you made it worse, they said. Yeah, well, we'll just quit messing with stuff.
Listen, I think they'll all come back if we just shut it down and start back up.
Oh, what? What are you talking about? No.
Figuring out the static. I'm telling you, as someone who's an audiophile, I just want to give the people the best product possible because we're talking about important stuff. No, I'm not telling them to think about that. We'll be right back. We'll just come back.
It fucks everything up. It fucks up a whole week's worth of stuff. No, deal with the static, you pussies.
No,
I don't know
no.
what to tell you.
I can't deal with it.
I don't know what to tell you.
When
It's
the
clear
phone,
now.
Is it Mike's phone near a
clear
speaker?
now. Yeah, it could be. It could be getting some reverb off of that or off of our phones.
Dude, there's none.
Yeah, it sounds great. I'm not. Get the fuck on out of here. People of color account for 70% of all defendants convicted of charges with a mandatory minimum sentence. Prosecutors are twice as likely to pursue a mandatory minimum sentence for a black defendant than a white defendant charged with the same offense. And black defendants are less likely to receive relief from mandatory minimums.
Mike.
On average, defendants subject to mandatory
guy's
minimums
out of
spend
his
5
out of
times
his
longer in
fucking
prison
mind.
than those convicted of other. Everybody says it sounds clear. Clear, dude. It's all fine. No, it's not going.
I fixed it. I fixed it.
They just said it's our phones next to the
Maybe
mics.
get your phone next
They just
to
said it's our phones
H6.
next
What
to
is
the
it, 1996 where it's coming through the fucking, we got all this equipment? We can't have our phones near the fucking mics? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
It's all good.
We're good. Hey, everybody, we're good. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Let's leave him. Just leave him over there. Woo!
Oh, shit.
Woo!
Is everybody good? Is everybody good now? Is everybody feeling
It's
all
the
better about
phones.
it? Is
It's
everybody
the pho-
feeling all
We've
better
had our
about it?
phones near the fucking
We've been doing this
Hey.
forever.
We've been doing this for a long time.
phones near the H6.
The fuck are you talking about?
That's what the static was.
I don't know, but
You know what I mean? We can figure. I'm just saying, it helped me figure this one out because obviously it'll help us move forward with both of our lives right now. This juice cleanse getting to Craig right now. I think it's a little bit of.
I snapped at my kid earlier, dude. He asked the fucking sweetest question in the world.
I just wanted to kill him because you haven't eaten
He
meat.
didn't do anything wrong. He just wanted to be a part of what we do. He's like, I would love to be on the show. So I was like, I bet you would.
Oh no, you did not.
I
say that.
100%
No, you
said I
did
did.
not say that.
He goes,
to
I'd
your
like.
kid.
He's like, I'd like to be on the show. I was like, I bet you would like to be on the show. You know what I'd like? I'd like for you to start up a YouTube channel where you can get millions of followers and start making some bread around here, pal. And Missy's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, listen, I'm just saying, as much as you're gonna play some video games, you think maybe you could jump out there? And I'm like, ooh, Daddy's hangry.
You got some pork chops right
Daddy's
there. Instead of
hangry.
pupils, there's little lamb shanks right in there. You can see there's little lamb shanks in there. Daddy needs his meat. Why are you doing
I
this
don't
to
know.
yourself?
People ask me why I'm doing it.
What?
Fuck this goddamn
There's
thing.
still always
Burning
getting.
up.
Daddy's getting.
I'm
hot.
burning
No,
up.
he's
I'm burning up. Fucking war on drugs has me fired up, dude. Has me fired up. Listen,
Oh, he hates you. CBD will calm you down. Holy shit, that was fantastic. Hey, don't awe Craig, everybody. Like, oh, Craig's mad. Oh, he yelled at his kid.
read Missy's comment.
He's been a Class A cunt all week, y'all.
I really have.
Listen, I got hungry for 30 minutes earlier, and I was like, I don't care what we eat, whatever. I don't care, whatever. Do whatever, get whatever. Oh, what's closed? Huh, that's ridiculous. I'm just like, dude, you're just the slightest bit hungry. I actually thought of you. I was like, man, how hungry,
I'm glad I could be a little bit of.
how hungry is that guy right now? He's got to be
I haven't eaten a salad in 7 days.
hungry. There's no reason for it.
Just because. It's a mental challenge, Mike. This has nothing to do with my health. It has nothing to do with anything other than I'm in control of this fucking spaceship, and I am not going to mindlessly shove shit down my gullet because I just want to taste something good. And so,
Mike, he couldn't ride a bicycle.
yeah, I'm not riding a bike.
I could ride a
Fuck
bike.
no. Ride a bike. I watch my kids ride bikes all the time. What the fuck am I gonna ride a bike for? I got I got 2 cars, Mike. I'm a fucking big ass deal. You think I'm worried about a fucking? You think I'm worried about a fucking bicycle?
You can take a train. You
fuck
can
outta
take
here.
a car. You can take a bus.
Yeah, there's so many modes of train. There's jetpacks now. You motherfuckers are riding bikes.
How about
no.
that? Dude, is that for real? I haven't seen the video.
Apparently, yeah.
Everybody's on a real. All right, read some of the comments.
It's a mental challenge, and now our kid needs therapy. It is.
Betty White needed Snickers.
I came out. I took.
Now our kid needs therapy. It's a mental challenge on our kids. How to navigate dad's juice cleanse.
I took a shower, and I'm sitting there, and I'm shampooing my hair, and I'm like, "What the fuck is the matter with you?" First off, the kid's more talented than you. Secondly, he just wants to do something fun with his dad.
Oh no!
God love him. I went out there, and I was like, "Buddy, I'm so sorry. We can do this anytime you want." Matter of fact, I think we should do a game show with all of you guys.
Listen,
and
we were talking about that. We were talking about doing like a family, a family show that we could do with everybody. And listen,
but he wants on Hoosier Sophisticate.
If you slotted him in here,
oh dude,
people, if you put a bald cap
when we
on
go
him,
live,
if you would have put a bald cap on him, I don't think it would take 14 or 15 minutes until people were like, I haven't heard any cum jokes yet. Out of oh, it's Trevor. That's not Steve.
doubt.
Okay. I thought he looks a little bigger
No doubt.
than Steve looks on camera. No, that all of our kids are gonna make. Mike's kids snorting peppers online, and he's.
Did you see? Speaking of that,
he's the Spice King.
Your kid's
Mike's
the Spice King.
He's got millions of followers on
Mike.
TikTok. He's the fucking Spice King. Let's talk to Mike.
Ate a habanero at like 10:30 a.m. today. It was like, I'm just gonna eat this fresh habanero here, and just dude. 3 minutes after that, he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Can you give me a second? I said, how was it, bud? He goes, it wasn't as bad as the jalapeno sandwich with ghost peppers and
Is that a fucking
few
wasp
other things.
in there?
That's all right.
No, it's
It ain't
a
hurting you.
weird-looking mosquito.
Oh, I thought.
But yeah, he's been.
So
on
he's
this,
just eating peppers,
he's been
just
eating
crushing
peppers, crushing them. But he's going through quite a bit of pain. I can tell. You know, when you're in
Well,
the
dude, you don't
want
want to you don't want to give yourself an ulcer. So
well,
maybe,
that's what we keep telling him. You
Yeah.
know,
Is he
hey,
drinking
you're gonna get
Pepto or anything
ulcers.
like
You're
that?
gonna get hemorrhoids. Like it's gonna be bad. You're gonna get lesions on your ass.
Wait, say that one more time.
You're gonna get lesions on your ass. So
The
yeah,
legions
it's kind of
of
worrisome
Rome on your
because
ass.
He just ordered the 9 million Scoville unit gummy bear from Amazon.
No.
It came in a box.
That's a bad
3-inch.
choice.
Yeah, when do
Like,
you step in
And I
and say
didn't
no?
know.
9
This is
million?
where-
Dude,
this is
9
where-
million is 4 times the amount of a Trinidad
Yes.
scorpion.
Yes. So
No.
Don't do
it
that.
is. It.
And-
we have had multiple
Oh, that
adults
ghost pepper
come
cheese
over
is so
and
good.
tell him, dude, this is bad.
Oh, well,
we
dude.
told him this is bad.
How old is he?
11.
11. Spices kill like fucking 30 11-year-old kids a year.
As long as we're giving you,
Let me get some. Let me
No,
find
like
some
seriously,
stats
show
on
your
that.
kid this.
Yeah.
You put that little, just drop a little hint. If you want it to end, like I always say, oh, my kid wants to jump off like part of the thing on the river. You're like, yeah, do it, man. Only like 3 kids died in the last like 8 years. Get on it! Get on it! And they're like, wait,
You and me
what
are
is-
so different.
what the fuck did he
My
say?
kids were climbing the walls at Washington State Park yesterday. I'm like, you talking, you jumping. The water's way down. Are you talking or you jumping, bud? Because you're holding up the line.
Yeah, we almost
People are
lost
trying-
one of your kinfolk on
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
time down
people
there,
are-
and now
people-
you're like, this is Washington
County.
Kicking his kids off. He's like, I've only had juice in the last week.
I do have a feel good.
Uppercutting your fucking kids off.
I do have a feel good.
Oh, good. You got a feel-good
human
story after that?
experience.
Good.
Yesterday, Landon was in like, dude. Here's the funny thing is,
He's gonna wrap it up and make himself look human now.
not at
Here
all.
we go.
No. We put our
Not at
we
all.
put our seats kind of where everybody jumps off the
Like John
off the
Elway's
wall.
teeth.
And
Oh, you're at the park.
yeah, and what was pretty
You
cool
put your
is
chairs up there?
Well, no, I mean like it just directly across from it on the beach.
Oh,
so like
gotcha.
we're sitting right there, and so all day long I'm just getting to watch people overcome their fears. Right? Pretty cool, pretty great. But then I'm also like witnessing people build like these fucking prisons, like these cages that they're just stuck in. Like they're juiced up, they're ready to do it, and then the more and more they think about it, it just they just cannot jump off the fucking thing. They can't do it. Like they went from gung ho to totally frozen, and then eventually kind of unwinding that and taking the plunge. And I watched Trevor. Trevor jumped 3 times off of this one spot, and then he got up there again. And we just hollered at him, hey, jump out a little bit further this way instead of that way. It's a little deeper there. And he goes, like as soon as we said something to him, he'd already jumped. He just wasn't waiting on our permission. He was rocking and rolling. He's like, you're stressing me out. And we're like, no stress. Just aim this way instead of that way.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
good.
Jen doesn't like to hear shit like that
And
either.
so I watched Landon do the same thing. So
I hit the edge when I jumped.
later on, all of like the older
jumped
kids
high,
are gone.
that was
There's some kids that are just barely a little bit younger, and like Landon just like went from no interest in that wall anymore. He's like, I've done it. It's cool. I don't need to do it again. To all of a sudden there's there's a girl about his age, whatever. He's climbing that wall like fucking Peter Parker did.
My God.
And just bonsai fucking cannonball.
Actually, it would have been Spider-Man, not
So-
Peter Parker. Peter Parker would have been it. Go on.
Peter Parker also had the abilities. He just
I don't know if you're gonna catch him doing that. Though. I think he's gonna put the costume on, therefore become Spider-Man. So
I don't
Peter
know.
Didn't
Parker-
he do it in the alley though?
He's
without
done it
the
a couple times, bud. It's in cinematic canon. It is. It is. When he first got it, he stuck to the whatever. Listen. So he jumps off the wall. Finally does. It's just a little.
I'm gonna get him.
It's a little skeeter.
That's a little Skeeter.
It won't-
Where
it-
are
it
we? The
won't get you.
Amazon?
It won't get you.
I know it's not gonna get me.
It
I
ain't
just
gonna
wanna
get
get
you,
it
dude.
before I might get that thing.
So
man.
Ain't killing nothing.
so
I know. I'm just saying, get it and let it outside.
So Landon jumps off, and my nephew is up on the wall, and he was like, all the kids were kind of just like billy goats on this mud wall, like kind of climbing across and then finding little spots to chill out. And he was so juiced for Landon, and he's like, how does it feel? And like, you could tell Landon was all over it, and I'm like, I look at my brother-in-law, and I'm like, was that not just like the most caveman?
Who said, how does it
visceral
feel?
thing? My younger nephew.
Okay.
And and like it was like it looked like a couple of cavemen that found a waterfall, and they're just bumbling around life trying to figure out what it is to be in this body with this earth around them. And they figure it out.
How old are these kids that you're watching jump off a wall in swimming suits?
Landon is
And how old
Landon's
is little kids
13
you're
and
watching?
8, and 7. They're all jumping. Yeah, like take a header.
Some kids are like, they're just floating. They're just going down. You're like, oh, he's all right. He's all right. There's a brush pile down there that'll actually catch him.
What is going on here?
Replying to question, you won't regret it, except the COVID episodes. They aren't as good. Why did I read one of them. You got my attention.
Fair
I
enough.
read it once.
But he just looks at him and he goes, "How does it feel?" And they have
Who
this
said
shirt.
this?
My young nephew, like he's like 10 years
He
old. on the
says,
wall.
"How does it
He's
feel?"
on the wall. And Landon finally like overcame his fear and fucking jumped off. This
Landon's
thing.
done it before.
This is what I'm saying. I watched
Oh,
people doing it
Landon
all
was
day.
saying. I thought you said
Trevor
Trevor.
too, both of them. I watched them both go through it. I'm like, dude,
Oh.
you just done it 3 times. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And then they'd get to the jumping. They'd stop, and I'm like,
Really?
interesting. And it wasn't just them. It was
Yeah.
strangers, too. There was this one adult trying to figure out his way, and he's like, how?
Except
deep is
every
that?
time your kids ran up, they're like, "Am I pleasing my dad? No, I can't.
Yeah, that's right.
Am I good enough for him? Oh no, am I? I hate that man.
I'll show him! I'll show him!
Fuck my dad! Ah! One time my stepbrother made this thing out of old computer paper. He got into a fight with his father and my stepfather, and we had beds on either side of the room, and he took the time. You remember how you had to print shit back in the day with the perforated edges and the holes? And it said, "I hate my dad, Randy." Put his name on it. And he puts, I shit you not, he prints it out letter
did
for
it? Your
my
dad?
stepbrother.
Oh.
To my stepdad. He prints that son of a bitch out in scale mode. You know how you can make
Oh, yeah, you
little
could make a
banners,
banner for
mode out of that paper? He
David,
made
David,
himself
David,
an
David,
I
banner,
hate
banner,
my
banner.
dad, Randy. There's that thing.
Well, I mean, I can at
And
least...
so I woke up about 5 minutes. I woke up about 5 minutes. Randy comes down. I hear him coming down. And I look up, and I'm sleeping on my bed so I can see this whole thing because Dan sleeps across. And I open my eyes, and Randy's walking down just like, "Time to wake up, my son. Feeling pretty good about my life. I'm a decent dad. Had a fight with him last night, whatever. boop-a-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. He walks out and he goes, as he reads a giant banner that probably cost him about $8 in ink. Just an ode to how much he is
Real thick block
and
font.
his son wouldn't touch a computer to do a school report to save his life. But he's got banner mode figured out to make a crafty thing for his dad to just let him know how much he hates him.
So what happened?
He's like, time to get up for school.
Oh, man. That's sad.
Also, one other good time, we're sleeping down there, and we would laugh. Me and my stepbrother were horrible. We would, from 12 to 1 to 2 in the morning, I'd be like, knock, 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 knock. And he'd be like, who's there? And I'd be like, your mom's Bush. And we'd be like, ah! You know, we were 12, 13,
Sure.
14. Just killing it with these like jokes now, just
Big
killing
mouth
them,
hit.
dude. Yeah. And Randy would have to, my mom would send Randy down, and Randy would be like, you guys need to knock it off. Well, one time we were at Randy's house, and there just so happened to be a golf club sitting there. And so he grabs the end of like this 7-iron, the heavy end, the head of it.
Who does?
Randy comes out, and he's threatening Dan. Dan's on the couch, and I'm sleeping on the floor. And so Randy is like, you better be quiet, boy. Be quiet, boy. Hey. And this is in Crestwood, you know what I mean? He's like, and my stepbrother's a feral child. Like, God love him. We were great friends. Like, but he was like, wild, just fucking, what? Can't throw apples at the front door? Huh? Like, we threw apples at the front door. So he comes over there with this, and he's like, I'm gonna get you. And Dan's like, do it. Do it. You know, 14-year-old kid going, do it. With the rubber end of golf club. So as a man, you know that doesn't hurt that bad. But you
I
can,
think I could put a fucking hurt
Oh.
on somebody with one of those.
I mean, you there's a
But
quotient.
you're gonna get it. You're gonna
Yes,
get it. You're gonna
but
get,
you
get
know,
his
as
attention.
a dad,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not the head where
Yeah,
like
you
you
can-
hit him right in
you
the
can-
tooth
you
and you're
can
like,
give him a
oh
little
God.
swat.
Exactly. So he does. He gives him a little. Boop. He doesn't follow through. He's not coming through.
No, he's not
He just
stroking.
boop. He's just
Speaking of which, rest in peace to Alcock Lou Brock.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I don't know what brought
Always
him up
follow through
while
on the
we're-
swing. Anyway,
Okay. Well, my
he's
stepdad's beating
beat a
his
few
child.
people with clubs before.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Shout out, I do. Lou Brock is one of the greats, man.
Number 20 went in
Stole
2020.
Heaven. I came up with that. If anyone asked Lou Brock stole heaven, I came up with that. I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I do that. Why do I do that? Oh, I got a lot to do. I got a lot to work on myself. So he comes down, he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. And he fucking whacks him, right? Goes poof, pops him
On
right in
the
the
arm?
shoulder. You know, no better place you can be hit than right here.
No
as
doubt.
A 14-year-old.
Yeah.
We've been doing this game forever, man.
Yeah,
Remember
you can
this
take
game?
a fucking
Remember
golf
that
club.
game, dude?
Yeah.
Remember it?
Yeah, I fucking remember it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was waiting for it too. I thought it was like a bit, and then I remembered the juice thing, and I was like, I'm gonna get cold cocked. I'm gonna get cold cocked. Bam! Then I'll be like one of those
I
kids
killed
on the
your
river.
mosquito.
Okay. Eat it. I dare you to eat it. No, don't eat it. Oh, God. Oh, it's stuck to my thing. Disgusting. It's stuck to the vortex. So Dan, as soon as he gets hit, right? And Dan's a solid 14. He's going through puberty. He used to always talk about how massive his bush was. Like, never talk about how big his dong was, ever. He was always like, my bush is huge, dudes. And he was serious. Like, I got the biggest bush. And he'd get up.
I'm doing Pert Plus
Yeah,
commercials,
he'd get,
bro.
And he'd just pull his pants down just to, like, so you could just see that Mons area. And he'd be like, look how big my bush is, dude. He would do that to people. I've never seen a psych out like that in my freaking life, dude. He would psych people out like that. No one cared about how big his balls or dick were. He just had a bush on him that would make freaking Cher blush. You know what I mean?
Making me blush was good.
So Randy hits him. Rando hits him with the golf club. Has to teach this kid a lesson.
In the arm.
Yeah, in the arm.
Not in the bush.
And not in the bush. Not yet. And then Dan goes, nah! He falls to the ground like he has been assaulted. He's like, he's JFK on the. He's like blown. He's blown back. He's gone, dude. So I'm like, oh my God. And Ray's like, I barely hit you. Because he's like, You hit me with a golf club. You hit me with like he's calling DFS and stuff. So to say that there was like a tumultuous relationship there would be precise. But it was also just a great time. Like I don't know if you've heard many of the stepbrother, stepsister stories. There were some wild shit.
I want all of them, dude.
Oh, but me and
all
my
of them.
stepbrother, when I first met my stepbrother, okay, like this is a little dash about me. The day my dad is moving out of my house, getting his stuff, my mom is taking me to meet Rando and his child, who's going to be my new best friend. Because we're the same.
Dude.
Yeah. New one! New one! Ha! You never even saw the pain. Ah! Oh, Band-Aid, new Band-Aid! No pain, never see it. Bury it. Deep down. So then, okay, so my dad's like, pussy's all crying when he's moving his. I'm kidding. I love my dad. That was a joke. But he was crying. So it's just like I'm going through all these emotions. I'm like, oh God. You know, my mom takes me. Don't get on your phone right now. I'm trying to tell you.
listening to you.
No, I need your attention if I'm going to tell you this story. Tell it on live air.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
So I get to the zoo because that's what the zoo's for. That's what you want to ingrain your children's memories at the zoo with. That's what you want to do, right? I go to meet my new dad and his son, my new best friend brother, because he's the same age as me, a couple months younger, had that on him. I was like, well, what's this month? I'm November 83. What's this month? I remember being like, what? I'm in sixth grade. What? And she's like, December 84. I'm like, you're damn right. I'm the older brother. And I see him, and he's got like a few inches and a few pounds on me. And I'm like, well, time to start eating egg yolks. Then I got salmonella poisoning.
You drinking Rocky shakes?
Yeah.
I did
was
that.
going to beat his ass, dude. So we get to the zoo. And there's a kid standing, there's a cargo net situation at the zoo. And I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of kids over there. And so Rando comes up, slaps my mom on the ass, gives her a smooch, and I'm like, okay, it's a bit much today, of all days, guy. And he's like, hey, knucklehead, there's Danny over there. And I'm like, get out of my face first and foremost.
First of all,
Actually, Randy was like, you don't talk to me, I won't talk to you, and we'll kind of just do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I can yell at you, you're not my dad! Every once in a while, you're not my dad! And he'd be like, I
cathartic.
know.
Yeah, duh. I didn't ask
He's
for
like,
this.
yeah, no, I didn't. This is not what I wanted at all. I've never claimed to be your dad. So then I see this kid over there. He's in like an Umbro jacket.
He's
got
looking
like
fly.
Sambas, and I'm
Straight
like,
out of fucking Color Me
he's
Bad.
coloring this thing for show. I'm sure.
I wanna sex you up.
That's a song I heard in my head when I saw this kid.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Tom said, never mind. That's a terrible choice for that song. It's a sixth grade boy. So anyway, so I see him on the cargo net, and he's going up at like a spider monkey, just going up that thing, crawling out. I'm like, look at this little athlete. We're gonna be best friends. We might take over the world together. Then I see and I'm like, that's the one. And my mom and Randy are like, no, that's not the one.
You thought you were getting you a fucking
I thought,
slider to your Iceman. You thought you were getting a wingman, bud.
Boy, I thought things were changing for old Steve-O. Things were looking up. So then I see this other young man over to the side, stuck in the cargo net. His legs twisted through, it's weaved through, and he's like, and he's got a dirty white T-shirt on.
He's always a bushwhacker.
And cut off jean shorts. No shit.
He's a bushwhacker.
No shit. Cut off. I wish this was not a character he was playing, but he had long. Come on, dude. He's not gonna wear short cut off jeans.
No, only an asshole
These are
would do
old
that.
jeans that you just cut off at about right above the knee. And I'm like, that one? And they're like, that's your new brother, Steven. Go say hi to him. And so I'm like, all right, I'm good at making friends. Let's do this thing.
Pick up a rock.
I get up to him. No. I went up to him and I was like, this is my mom. If your dad tries to touch my mom again, I'll lose my shit, man. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, man, my name's Steve. What are you into? After I help him out of the cargo net, get down. And he's like, trains. And I'm like,
Okay. People like trains.
Not when you're a 6th grade boy trying to be cool as fuck in South City. Trains, you're gonna
fucking. I hope you got an apology for the fucking train enthusiasts
listen,
out there.
I think if you grew up in Crestwood,
real offensive right now.
I think if you grew up in Crestwood, you can say that. You grew up in Webster, you can say that. You grew up in South City by St. Boniface, you say trains.
Yeah. You better be robbing trains.
Yeah, exactly. Or you better be like crossing people up or singing.
Jesse James.
Yes, dude, exactly. I would never say trains, even if in my heart of hearts it was like stamps. You know, like that's my heart. It's my heart, man.
Did he have train sets?
No.
He's just into them.
Just first thing that came out of his mouth.
Just fucking.
What are you into? Trains. I'm like, fuck. I'm soccer, fucking music, anything. A 6th grade boy. Yeah. So I go to his house and we end up becoming best friends because he's got stereos galore. He's one of those dudes who's taking apart stereos and like put
them all
speakers together.
Put together a little fucking sound wall.
And I loved music, so music was our binding force. Like
pretty similar tastes.
Well, if anyone has the taste of someone who just likes to hear the bass noises come out of speakers.
Oh well,
you know,
we all had that for a minute.
And I'm like, when's the song? Is this like a thing? He's like, this is the song. It's the test what decibels your subs can go. Because he had 8 12s.
Jesus.
In a Silverado 1500 to where when you turned it on with like the amps, like he had 3 amps. Like, I mean, it was insane.
Couple capacitors. Yeah.
I used to have to stick my head out the window. He used to laugh. I'm like, you're getting brain damage. I know it because I couldn't. I
had an old man.
And his back windows, remember those old truck back windows only cracked open?
Yep.
Well, they would just go and shake. I mean, this far out, dude.
Dude,
like
it's
nothing,
crazy.
And they wouldn't break. I was like,
it's crazy how much give they have.
Oh,
tempered glass.
So then we were still pretty good buddies, and we have nothing in common. We have nothing in common.
Except for trains.
Trains.
Yeah, trains for sure. You're 36. You got to like trains now.
I'm cool.
Yeah, what a lovely little piece of Americana here.
Should we hit him with the commercial? Hit him back with the real shit.
Actually, one thing that I was really excited about before we went to commercial, Mike, is I was really excited that you and we finally developed our AI.
Yes.
And this is something we've been working on behind the scenes for years. And
a lot of blood, sweat,
a lot of
tears,
fucking YouTube tutorials about how to code, and
we both learned Java.
Yeah, C++.
We both learned to code.
To code, yeah. So we ended up making our own AI. Steve asked about if anybody was an app developer in the community. That wasn't because we want anybody to build an app for us. We just want to show them how much their stuff sucks compared to what we fucking can code now.
That's
Mike,
the juice talking. I need an app developer.
Mike,
yes, sir.
Give them a fucking taste, bud, of
go.
our artificial intelligence.
Little Alan AI.
I am Alan. I am the humanoid, artificial intelligence interface bot machine that was created by the gods, Craig and Stephen. I am capable of computing 14 million terabytes in just under a parsec. I can solve 1 billion Rubik's Cubes in the blink of a nanobot. But what I do best is jizz, baby. That's my name. That's my game. Jizz all day every day. Here a jizz, there a jizz, everywhere some jizz. Call me DJ Jizzy Jeff. I am the court jizster. Jizzum. J-I-Z-Z-Z-Z-Z-Z-Z. Did you know jizz got its name from French philosopher Jean Baudrillard jizz? That is not true. I made that up. Most of my computing power is dedicated to telling false histories to the origins of the word jizz. Would you like to know more about jizz?
take our insurance and are you cannabis friendly?
Yeah.
And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too.
Oh,
because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get...
Whoa, Kippy, you can't...
Well, I was just going to say
cannot.
get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like
want
you were
to
going
get
to
in trouble.
sounded like you were going to say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Native hemp inside of me. 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 I got 1,800 milligrams going real good down my throat. When I wake up in the morning and I need a pick-me-up, well, I grab my bottle of native hemp and I splash it on my tongue. Lap, lap, lap. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me.
Native hemp extract available at HoosierSophisticate.com. Enter code HOSO, H-O-S-O at checkout for an additional 30% off.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's Hoosier Sophisticate. You can catch us on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook.
That's it.
Twitter. You can see us on Twitter, too. You can see us everywhere if you want information like this. Craig and I were actually tossing around the idea. No, not tossing each other salads, you perverts. And there's a rumor going around on the Facebook page right now that I will show my butthole if you guys share this. And we get 50 viewers, 100 to not share my butthole. That's a rumor going around right now. I'd like to address that later in the show.
You're lowballing yourself.
50 viewers, we get butthole on screen. Welcome back to Hoosier Sophisticate, guys, 7 to 9 p.m. We're thinking about maybe going... Craig, I am more motivated now than ever. When you get so close to the cannabis industry, you forget. you think everybody knows about the endocannabinoid system. You think everybody knows how ridiculous the war on drugs is. You think everybody knows there's people serving life in prison. And I'm a you know me, I'm a petulant child at heart. You know me. You've told me numerous times where I'm like, oh, God dang it, he's right. He's right a little bit. But, you know, I see, when I see the way we're headed and the way cannabis is still a Schedule 1 drug federally. And I'd love to hear people, if you have had, if you've used cannabis as a medicine, how it helps you as a medicine. Because right now, Schedule 1 says no medicinal value. And 33 states have proven, studies have proven, how much anecdotal evidence does the federal government need before we realize what a sham this entire thing is from the top level. And we were talking about the Missouri cannabis industry, and I came up with a decent analogy I thought in my head just driving around the other day, that there's a town of sick people and they don't have water. They don't have water right now, bud. They need water. They need a well installed and a big faucet that everybody can come to and get this water, this main necessity that they need to live, that some people need to live, dude. We've seen it. We've seen people need it to live. And right now we're like designing the hose system. We're taking our time kind of picking out what color the faucet's going to be and what, you know, how are we going to kind of make. Meanwhile, people have brought water to the town and we're like, get out of here. You're going to jail, man. You're being locked up for bringing water to these people. You've been doing it for years. You fucking scumbag. How even growers having to come out of the shadows. It's like, yeah, I've been growing for a while. You know, it's like we still have to even beat around the bush with that stuff. It's ridiculous. Nate on Cannabis, I love that dude. He's always putting it out there for the Missouri cannabis industry, and he sometimes helps me get, if you don't follow Nate on Cannabis, do it. He helps me get back centered and gets me riled up sometimes. It gets me little riled up. And working at Sweet Leaf, we did end up getting, after about 4 or 5 hours, got the card for this little old lady and her friend. Her friend was what kind of struck me as what a kind soul in the world. Yeah. This friend was just along for the ride. You know, like your buddy has to run somewhere. You're like, hey, I'm glad to, but then you got to help him do other things. And you're like, oh God, this is taking a lot longer than I had thought. And they just hung out all day and she kept a smile on her face. She's like, I just want to get her legal. And it became this whole thing that and I'm like explaining, yeah, it is legal, but federally it's not. So, okay. And getting convoluted in that. And Craig and I have been tossing around the idea of going 3 hours because we feel like the stuff we're talking about is important.
Yeah.
We feel like we could fill 3 hours a day. I'll go up against anybody. 105.7 The Point, TMA, 3 hours. Give me 3 hours in the morning where they can listen to us, listen to our voices, or watch us. Yeah. We give you a digital billboard of people we love and support and respect. You're getting advertising. We'll only work with businesses that are doing what we deem. We're always giving back. We're always giving back. We have a record of constantly being like, I'll go broke giving back. Yeah. It's just what we go broke giving back. Not that I'm like, oh, fucking feel bad for us.
That's not the point. No. The point is,
I'll give it everything I got. So if I can give it everything I got and give you 3 hours a day to talk about my stepbrother, talk about your juice cleanse, talk about what Craig has filled his computer with words, not just butthole pictures, which he usually does. He's got words in here. He cares. I can see the passion in your eyes when you talk about the war on drugs and how you can have an impact in the world, dude. Yeah. And the trickle effects of that, how it can be, everyone can benefit from the stuff we are saying in so many ways. And we want to make you laugh. We want to make you think. We want to make you consider
being a little bit better than you were before. Because we're shitheads. You
on
yelled at your kids. I'm
We're
shitty.
working on
I'm yelling at Jenna every once in a while. Like, I'm a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. But guess what? We're trying to get better. You know what I mean? Like, that's the deal. I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
And I want to try for 3 hours in the morning, give these people what they want, and see what we can do.
Talk radio
to
and
make a
podcasts
dent.
are pervasive, right? Like they're all over the place now. And I think that there is still an old guard that listens to it's where we were born, right? Like in AM radio, sports talk, things like that. And you and I have gone through this weird identity, I don't know, crisis, but identity change where it's like what used to be so important to us, something as simple as sports, like, it just kind of goes by the wayside. Now we've got bigger fish to fry. But it's still something that we love,
Yeah.
It's still something that, if we had a reason to have an active interest, we would.
Oh,
but
Lou Brock, man, like that made me
100%.
just like, oh man, like.
Well, and we're so blessed as just being Cardinal fans and being able to see fucking great baseball and true baseball heroes and things.
And
like
the best fans.
Best fans, of
And the
course,
best fans in
best
baseball.
fans in baseball.
Best fans.
But we're spoiled, right? And so then when these big time people were asking what the Mount Rushmore is. I don't want to get too far off on a Cardinal tangent, but what's the Mount Rushmore Cardinal players? And a guy like Lou Brock, he doesn't. From a lot of people, he might, but he just usually doesn't make
He's
that
five.
top four.
He's
He's number
5,
5.
6.
He's a solid number 5.
He's a 5 or a 6.
But dude, you could also say, well, Roger Hornsby should be you know what I mean?
No doubt.
He should be number 1.
Ken
but
Boyer.
He's not. Dude, there's players. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get too far off on a tangent on fucking baseball. It gets me a little excited talking about it. But to see what the impact that he made with his talent, I'm still trying to fucking get on board with Twitter, and when something like that happens, some of the names, the people from just all over the country, when one game a week was shown on one station throughout the country, there were certain dudes that affected everybody. And so to see Adam Sandler tweeting about Lou Brock and everything
Oh, really?
oh, dude, it was awesome. Yeah, there's
cool.
so many people were from
Base burglar.
all over the country.
Brings
We're
people
tweeting about
together.
it. I understand that's what sports does, and I understand that's why people gravitate to sports talk. It always feels good to kind of be well informed as to what's going on, to have the scoop to give to your buddies. Oh, this is the new up and coming talent, because sports does make positive changes on communities. But there are also really pressing issues that we've probably, because of how much of an impact sports or extracurricular extra sensory input coming from television and wherever else, have made us kind of lose touch with how we're governed, and if the laws are really in line with what we believe. And there's neighborhoods falling apart. God damn, we can all meet down on 9th Street, go catch a ball game, but we all go home to a way different safety level. Forget the fact going back to a nicer house, or it's the fact that there are places within 1 block of each other in our backyard that are from the back. You and I got caught in one of them. We went from being in the fucking elephant graveyard with the hyenas, where we're oh God, we're the little Simba cub, we don't belong here, to in 2 blocks being around every house, average median income $4 million. It's crazy. And I don't know what it was that kind of separated. I think becoming more involved with the industry, seeing parents struggle with sick kids, also going through, whatever, death in the family for me, was a thing that helped kind of at least make me readjust my priorities. We can still talk about those things and the things that are fun that do bring us together, but we can also dedicate a good portion of our time, because this is my passion. I love what I do for a living, to make money 9 to 5. It's a fun job. I get to work with people that I want to work with. But the thing that gets me going, the thing that I truly believe in my heart of hearts, is the most important thing the singular most important thing we can do to change a multitude of issues that we're facing, from the opioid epidemic to over-policing, to getting police back in a more favorable eye in the communities that they're policing, because they're no longer used as these revenue collectors, and honestly, also in a very literal sense, like these dudes that they go and they capture slaves, right? We've got people in prison that are the modern day slave. And they're paid pennies a day to make private goods that private prison companies sell for exorbitant amount of money. I mean, it is literal slavery, you know? And I believe that there is this one thing that can be a catalyst for change on a grand scale. And I love the fuck out of baseball. But if I can tell people that in 2016, 11.8 million Americans misused prescription opioids, and 3.6% were adolescents. These were legally prescribed medicines from people. And when people get the idea, like, you even want to decriminalize heroin? Well, haven't we already? Like, haven't we already? We're just not arresting the people that are flooding the streets with it. That's really what it comes down to. And I really want to defeat this mentality that drug use is inherently bad. Because we have an idea, and I also think that a lot of the things that people say, the fear tactics that people raise us with, I think that it's like it's being a kid and someone telling you can't do something. The appeal to it I think that misuse also comes from the taboo of it all. When you
100%.
talk about things in a responsible way, and you're truthful about them and about what the effects are, and then people are more likely to use responsibly. People are more likely, if they're not going to get in trouble, to test their drugs, which is something available to everybody. Go check out dancesafe.org. Like, there's drug testing kits. Like, everybody should have those if you use drugs. Like, it would be great if everybody could carry naloxone on their person. Something I said this week was like, I'm thinking about this all lives matter thing, and I'm with it. Sure, all lives do matter. And so since we think that,
You got to say it immediately after someone says Black Lives Matter.
that's what it seems like, right? Like, it's such a weird deflection. And I'm like, okay, we're in agreement on that. All lives matter.
Agreement on all.
We're in agreement on that. So, if you could, go out of your way to learn about how to administer naloxone.
Not a heroin addict. It's gross.
And save somebody's life.
That's gross.
And truly value life and give someone a second chance. It's not that anybody, there's probably some evil parties attached to it, but it's not that the average person who's been told something their whole lives is a bad person.
People are good.
They've just been fed
People are good.
bad information. And if you can find a way to give them information that's palatable and just say, here, look, because I catch myself, man. I start to get snarky after like 15 people saying the dumbest shit. The dumbest shit about, so I guess you just mean that we're just not going to criminalize possession of drugs. That's precisely what I mean. Yes, that's what I mean. We're not going to criminalize possession. If there's any crime committed that happens under the influence, we're going to make that punishment harsher. But no, we're not going to punish anything for. And like, I find myself getting really snarky. Probably shouldn't engage in debate with no solids in me for a week or so. Probably shouldn't do that.
Nope, you're a juicy boy.
And I'm just like, you know what? I'm trying to build bridges. I'm not trying to seal them off. It is so
You always have like a stick of dynamite under the bridge, though, just with your foot on the pedal, just in case, destruct button on the bridge. Like, I can nuke this thing now.
And I do always have that button under my thumb, man. But I said, you know what? I'm trying to build a bridge here. I'm trying to build a bridge here. Let me just share this article with you. There are links to the studies if you choose to go into it. If I gave you the information, would you take it upon yourself to just challenge yourself to maybe learn something, look at something a little differently? Michael Forquer says, I will teach anyone who wants to know how to use Narcan. All right, you braggart. Thank you. Michael Forquer's he's been given his life back by cannabis.
Yeah.
And we are blessed enough to get to see this all of the time. And so, Steve, if we can go daily,
Josh loved trains. Josh loved us.
We will give a portion of our time to telling a funny story. What's been happening in our day? We're going to talk about whatever the hot news thing that's going across. Maybe fucking did the Avett brothers drop a new. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. But we're also going to keep a central focus on ending the drug war in America, on educating and coupling cannabis patients with cannabis caregivers and trying to get people access to medicine and provide a place where people can talk about this. And it's something we've done for a few years, and I love what the group's turned into. And, you know, like a place where people feel comfortable not only to talk about maybe how cannabis saved their life or how a psychedelic experience changed the way that they, you know, viewed their mortality, but also a place where they can open up and share. Like someone at first time posted the other day asked a great question about like
two-parter.
what's something that, you know, you would
have a
be
hard time
embarrassed to
hard time
admit or a hard time to admit. And it was like, and to see people
open
up. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm like, you know what? First off, I love this question. Way to come out the swinging for the fences, kid. Like that's where I'm at.
Come in general.
That's part.
Come
of
out the gate.
That's the group.
Come
entry
in the
fee.
gate.
Group entry. Fee.
Come on the gate. That's what you can do in this group. We're not gonna judge you. Z.
But I love that it's a place where people can now come and
it's a safe space.
and it's not a safe space.
It is for me. I go there and I get all warm.
I'm happy to share my
like,
story out there.
I love Steve. He's the best. He's the greatest. Hey, how much do you think the war on drugs and LSD and MDMA are on Schedule 1, are on the Schedule 1 listing?
Yeah.
It's a pretty short list for Schedule 1. Cannabis, LSD, and MDMA have all proven to be medicinal.
Yeah. LSD's like brain yoga, dude.
How much of this is a conspiracy theory that the planet could be awoken? Like, not in the woke sense. They'll steal the words. That's what they do. People will, if I was running a campaign against somebody, I would, like, if I had somebody
woke.
If I was trying to ruin Mike, I would have someone dress exactly like Mike, be like, yeah, cool, and just be the worst person ever, you know? Like, and then everyone would assume Mike is with this horrible person, like, oh
right.
God, Mike's just like
he
that guy.
Actually associates
That's
with
awful.
us, so I don't know what he's thinking.
You know, so it's like an anti-campaign. I think people do that with words. So woke in the sense of, hey, man, I did acid, and I realized that we're all kind of connected, and a lot of my fear comes from these issues from my past that I tried to bury. I need to spend more time with this. All-time shift, you know. MDMA, getting to talk to someone you love on MDMA and being able to feel like you can say anything and it's going to be heard and accepted and loved and returned back with thought is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Having those conversations on the MDMA is therapy, man. And when we brought that movie to St. Louis,
From Shock to Awe.
From Shock to Awe, and hearing that woman, which one? It
was Michael Cooley's wife. Yeah.
Michael Cooley's wife.
I'm gonna get it wrong.
She does
Mrs.
MDMA
Cooley.
therapy, and hearing her talk about her warrior self, putting her warrior self to bed, that now it is time. The warrior in her is done. It's over. It's fine. Now it's time to move on to the mother portion. When you're having these conversations that sound crazy, right? We've heard the ayahuasca stories where the last shaman I was talking about, they were saying, he said he saw one of the plant, not mother ayahuasca, maybe one of the other plants he was dining with, going into his side and pulling out all this bad stuff, but he knew it was like not good, but he knew it was the stuff coming out of him wasn't good. Puking up demons, you know, things that happen when you're crazy. You're a crazy person, right? You sound like a Bible story. You sound like the stuff we're like, whoa, man, we got science and technology now, and we have these microphones, and no way that magic still exists. A long way of putting the question, how much of the war on drugs is actually attributed to the fear of a lot of people turning on, for lack of a better word? Because that seems to be a conspiracy where it's like, come on, are they really worried?
You know,
but yeah, maybe a little bit.
Okay, I think
sure.
I think originally that was a big part of it. Like I think that they saw when they tested on military subjects or whatever that they saw that it was very hard to control people and control thought.
Those British soldiers, that
Yeah.
video.
It's very hard to
Have you ever seen the
control-
video with the British soldiers? They try to run they're like, okay, you guys go. They tried to run drills. They were all laughing their asses off. They put their guns down. They're like taking their shoes off, and they're like, whoa. Couple of them freaked out.
Yeah.
You know, like, that shit'll happen. Like, you don't guide somebody or help them out. You're just dosing them up and saying, hey, here, run these drills, these military drills.
Yeah.
Like, phew, okay, we're going to see a whole different section of the populace act differently. But, yeah, no, that's going back to studies like that.
Like, I think that they probably saw that it was pretty tough to control people, even though...
Couldn't control those guys at
So,
all.
listen, like, MDMA was developed, I think, in 1901 by Merck. It was just like they were putting molecules together, figured it out, put it on the shelf. Then there was a military project where they were testing on the spectrum from methamphetamine to mescaline, right? And it was like in the middle.
Just doing all the M's.
In the middle is where you'll find, methylene dioxymethamphetamine. It's kind of a marriage between methamphetamine and peyote, mescaline, So, and it. The mescaline kind of counteracts it in a way that wouldn't make you say like as jittery as amphetamine or something like that. And you can always kind of tell if the balance is off a little bit in the mixture. But
maybe you can
on this
fucking
on
drug
this
head.
on this spectrum
Nailed it.
from mescaline. They were testing this for mind control purposes. Like that was the idea.
Real quick, keep that thought. Imagine those testing kits they were talking about earlier. They just send Craig out, and he's like, "Yeah, give me a little snooter of that. I'll tell you if it's real." That's the testing kit. Oh, testing kit's here. You come in there, roll your fucking sleeves up. You got one of those little cocaine pipe things that you snort stuff out of. That makes it like safe. You're like, here, children. Nope, it ain't real.
Jesus.
Okay.
So they were actually used. They were when it was kind of rediscovered or reused again. It was for mind control purposes, mind control experiments. They were trying to figure out, and once again, like MDMA just kind of removed their willingness to engage, like in fight. Like they were just way more in. So then it went back on the shelf. They're like, you can't use this. No mind control. And then Sasa Shulgin rediscovers it.
All the troops in our got in a formation where they all gave each other a massage in a circle. All these military dudes like, you're tense.
Your hair feels great.
My palms are sweating. Oh, shit, that's fun.
So then Sasha Shulgin finds it again, and the way that he comes up with it is he starts to see whether or not it has any kind of therapeutic value. And I'm going to have another story kind of like John Lilly, where there's a character called the Secret Chief I'm going to tell you guys about in the 60s.
Man,
the Secret Chief?
The Secret Chief.
Could you imagine being the first guy being like, let me check what that MDMA was about. Let me give myself a small dose.
Yeah.
So that's what he would do, right? So like Sasha Shulgin would take micro doses of these crystals that he would come up with.
And you got to write it down, and you're like,
yeah. And then he would do it with his wife. And then after doing it with his wife, they had like what they called like the 12 disciples. There were 12 different people. If they thought it had any kind of therapy, they would give it to all of them, and they would all come together and decide whether or not it had therapeutic value. And that's what, Rick Doblin ultimately got in on trying to save it with the DEA because it was going to get lumped in this Controlled Substances Act. And there were already a lot of documented therapy sessions and things like that where people were showing unbelievable
Are they worried about
success
us
with
getting
MMA. So I think it
worried
started
about
with
us?
that. I think it's way more fucking knuckle dragging than that.
Me too.
I think that we have big time agencies and big time paychecks attached to this idea that drugs are bad. And as long as it's a criminal act, they get bigger budgets from taxpayers. Mm-hmm. They get vacation houses. Mm-hmm. They've got a place to go with all of these returning veterans of war and potential police people. They get these jobs at the federal government. It's a way cushy deal. They get paid fucking big dough. They got great benefits. and there's a fucking couple million of them out there. Agents, whether it's the DEA or the ATF or the fucking or DHS, like agencies that nobody fucking voted for or elected, like, you know, just bloat, government bloat. And I think that too many people's livelihood depends on there being a bad guy that's created. I think that there is evil that exists in the world. You'd be foolish to ignore that, but there is a lot of bad guys created by agencies that really need a fucking job.
Okay. I want to think it's kind of a big idea like that, like a big idea. Ooh, it's a conspiracy to keep us down from becoming our best self, from learning about how to open our mind at the most core level, to learn how to get so spiritual. We're traveling to other realms, and we don't live in this body. We're just transferred here for a moment, and we can transfer out when we want. Psychedelics have the ability to help us do that, and so do obviously holotropic breathing and other things you can do naturally. But there's these plants like ayahuasca that you go there and you journey, and you can really dig down deep, and I'm figuring it out. Then you see movies like The Last Shaman, and even in Peru, these ayahuasqueros that are popping up. They're like, hey, we heal all the gringos' problems. And it's like,
yeah, that's not how it works,
we're
man.
bastardizing these weird things. And our next thing is we'd like to talk a lot more about legalizing psychedelics, legalizing nature. I'm not sure. There hasn't been a name that I really... Because I'd like to outlaw poison ivy. I would. I'd like to outlaw it.
Decriminalize nature has been the...
I like it, but I think there's something better out there. I'm gonna leave that up to you. That's your deal.
That's my deal.
But we talk about that in Missouri. How much of an impact would it be if everyone with trauma, everyone who is suffering right now, had the ability to immediately get a therapy like MDMA, like psilocybin, like anything that we've heard, any of the studies, that they can narrow it down.
At least for people that have tried,
even
everything
I'm saying
that
before trying any of that bullshit. This could be the front line.
Yeah.
How much of a shift in overall society would we see?
Oh, I think a big one.
You do?
Yeah, I think a real big one. I think, and we're going to see it. We're going to see. That's the thing, is we have to figure out a better way to communicate the dangers of drug use, because right now saying you're a bad guy going to jail is not keeping people from doing it and doing it irresponsibly. If all of a sudden you change the conversation into listen, we understand that people are going to do drugs, and there are very real consequences that happen when you misuse them. And all of a sudden, if you can put that information out there to where people are like, oh, they're not telling me what I can't do. They're just telling me, drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that you'll see a shift in how that all goes. And I also believe that our kids now, and really our generation too, we've seen enough of the dangers of the opioid epidemic, in particular. That I think that we are I think that I can be pretty convincing to my peers. There's a generation above us and one above that that's really hard to get this through to, because they have a lifetime of understanding that drugs are the scourge of the earth. They're very hard to reach. But enough of us have said, well, the penalties have only gotten harsher. The agencies have only grown. The amount of money we've thrown at this has only gotten larger. But so have the deaths, so have the usage rates, so have everything else. I think we're living that in real time to see that what we're doing is not working. So I think that our attitude towards that and our shift is going to be attributed to that. But yes, in the next 2 years, you're going to see MDMA therapy centers all over the country. And the thing is the way that it's being administered, it is MDMA assisted therapy. Sure, a lot of people use MDMA to go to the club and dance or party and,
God, you're so
whatever.
old. A lot of people go to do their drugs,
Well,
and they go to
to
the club and they party their butts off. They listen to
They
Sandstorm.
sure do. And they're going to...
Yeah. Things are different now, man.
They're going to like
think that was Zombie
they're going
Nation
to
that you were
backyard
just-
discos, where they wear headphones and shit. You don't
Yeah,
know.
little silent
I know about
discos.
kids.
Okay, you know what all the hey there, fellow.
I know
kids.
about kids.
The point
fellow
is,
kids.
it's such a different administration than it would be in a club or party setting, right? And it's going to be.
I think they need
different,
a different they need to administer it differently than they do now. I think
in the room how
Yeah,
they
I
are.
think
I
that
think
the
I think it's a
hospital
little
room's
sterile.
weird.
Yeah, it's a little sterile.
That one we watched, the one documentary, they tried to spice it up a little bit, put like some fucking sheets. But I'm like, this is a hospital right outside those doors.
Yeah.
It's like trauma.
Yeah, it would, and I think that you'll see that. I think that you'll see like retreats. I think that you'll see places that are kind of.
I mean, what impact
right
does
now,
that have on society?
I think.
we start?
I think that people.
Is
start
that when we
to-
take the fucking next step, man? Like,
Yeah.
you don't seem too convinced.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I think that's where
because that's what I'm worried about.
I think
too.
a lot of
we
people
get
that-
psychedelics legalized, and we're like, we did it. And
We're
everyone's
going to
like,
have.
cool. I'm going to go to
there's
the
going
club
to be
on
serious,
mushrooms.
serious growing pains there because there's only so many therapists that are going to be able to administer this, and so the number of people that
You gonna
have
get your
experienced-
license?
I have to be a practicing clinician.
Do it.
I thought I'm gonna fucking go become
Fucking
a
do it.
psychiatrist, bro.
You just did the juice thing.
I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
Don't fucking dare me, dude. Don't tell me
You
what I
couldn't
can't
do
do.
it. He couldn't do it. I doubt he could do it.
Reverse psychology has never worked on me. Brandon Towers says, I've helped people that struggle with alcoholism with MDA. Right on, dude. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. So my point is, I think that there's a lot of potential for many lives to be changed. You're talking about a societal shift, like.
That's what I'm talking about, bud. I want to know what it looks like.
think it's gonna be an
I want you to use your fucking imagination to figure out what problems get solved because people are more open to the idea of loving each other. Because I live in a bubble of this group.
Yeah.
Where
Well, that's
it
what I'm
is
saying.
people
At
who
that point,
fucking love each other.
it's not a matter of
and
those
it's
people.
a beautiful thing. But we don't have a lot of like actual bridge builders in the group. You know what I mean? Like we need some fucking people of like big affluence, or not affluence, but some sway. Not to join our group, sound like that, but like when are the people with a lot of
The psychedelic movement, you mean?
Yes. Like
Okay,
when
so
are
there
people
are
in
there
charge
there
gonna
have
be
been
like,
big things. There
"Ooh."
are big companies
Rick
that are
Doblin's our
getting
guy,
behind
but
it.
you
Dude,
say
they raised
Rick
30. They
Doblin,
raised $30
You
million.
say Rick Doblin people, and they're like,
Yeah, they raised $30 million in 70
he's
days.
my fucking, he's a hero.
And they've got, I mean, there are companies that are coming on board. There are a lot of people with money now that are the CEOs, right? Like the tech world changed the game.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
it brought people in that were already kind of forward-thinking futurists into, extreme wealth. I was looking at it for a while. I'm like, it's not on. I don't know. Did they say it was static?
Good call.
I just smashed my
So,
phone.
there's
I
going
should've
to
sat it
be.
down.
I think that the people that experience the therapy are 100% going to be more open to the capacity. Their capacity for love is going to be expanded. The biggest hurdle in the beginning, especially, is that it's going to be costly, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get out to as many people that need it. Millions of people have experienced trauma and are carrying trauma around them. That MDMA could help them, quell that.
Could
that
we
PTSD
ever
and
get to
anxiety.
a point where you could set up a altar in your room? Could you see the day? And you put on a VR set of goggles.
Oh.
And you get a dosing of LSD in the mail.
Yeah.
And they say put these goggles on. The first 4 hours is black, but
it'll happen in our
it's a
lifetime.
guided meditation. And it's kind of a
I
program
think
that could
you need
almost
to shut the fuck up about our new business idea right now. So anyway,
I think that could be a thing.
it could 1,000,000% be a thing, dude. You know who Android Jones is? He's making VR. There's dudes making VR worlds that'll blow your fucking mind hole.
I saw a glimpse of one of his, and my mind hole was like, and I
And
stopped it right
you
here.
pushed it back
I was
in,
like,
it was like a hernia.
yeah, it was like a prolapsed anus.
I do think that we can get there. And Mike doesn't think it'll happen in our lifetime. I think it'll happen late in our lifetime. Yeah. But man, here's
well, not
the
Mike's
thing.
lifetime. He's gonna pretty soon. Look at him.
Got it.
Unhealthy. Every time I see him, it's like bag.
Yeah, his eyes and his teeth are glowing.
He's
He
just
seems
like,
his skin has great
kill me."
complexion.
He keeps going, kill me. Why
Relatively
can't the sweet
fit,
release
like,
and
yeah,
death
he's-
come any quicker? Why?
Matter of fact, Chris Smith, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas is in support of psychedelics, and we can certainly have that. He came out in
KC
favor of
sucks. St.
decriminalizing
Louis
Quentin
rules.
Lucas, and so did
St. Louis rules. Nobody from Kansas City on the show. Because I'll flex on them in this jacket.
Yeah, I will. I'll see about doing that, Chris.
You
I like
send them
that's a
this
good idea.
message.
You're done in this town. You come to St. Louis, brother. You're gonna get one of these
Speaking of which,
and one of these. Boop, 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 boop,
hey,
boop, boop. You're done
you
in
guys
this
grow
town.
weed? Mike, what I need you to do.
Grow
is,
weed, everyone.
Yeah, here, you want a chance to win $10,000 cash and prizes?
All right, here's what we're going to do. Do this, explain it, and then Mike, we're going to play the first video and then the blooper reel right after.
Right after
And then
it?
we'll do streaming picks.
Okay. All right. Guys, canafest.com. You can sign up. Looking for 420 growers. It's been extended till September 13th. What's the date? Today's the 7th. It's been extended till the 13th. You can still sign up, or until they get 420 growers, you get a chance to win. I think the grand prize is $10,000 in cash and prizes. Overall, there's 20. Overall, there's $25,000 in cash and prizes. Everybody's going to grow the Magic Melon Autoflower from Humboldt Seed Company. We ran into a wrestler.
Show me.
And I want you guys to check out the canafest.com Autogrowathon. Canafest Bowl Nationals Autogrowathon. I scared him. Mo Mad Mike. Green Gene Terpene here backstage at the Canafest Bowl Nationals, the Autogrowathon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the Magic Melon Autoflower from Humboldt Seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large. And I'm going to be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
Well, Missouri's the newest one to a legal cannabis market here. The other states have a bit of a head start. What do you think about some of the competition in the new burgeoning market in Oklahoma?
Oh, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the place where I stop to take dumps on my way to Texas to find an actual pretty little gal.
What? Doesn't seem like you're trying to make any friends in Oklahoma. Colorado's got a real head start on everybody. They've been having the longest recreational market in the whole game. You got to think the competition's pretty stiff out there. What do you have to say about them?
Oh, you didn't hear? Green Gene, you didn't hear? Did you hear?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, they can't even grow cannabis out in Colorado anymore.
Why?
Because John Elway's teeth got in the way of the sun's rays, and all their plants died from calcium and magnesium deficiencies.
That seems like a weird thing for it to not have light or calcium and magnesium. All right, California. That's where they've been doing it the longest. People say that the favorites might even be in California. What do you have to say about the California competition, sir?
Oh, in California. Let me do an impersonation of someone in California. I'm leaving. Get me out of here. I'm soft. I'm leaving. 'Cause I'm scared. They're scared that the state's gonna break off into the Pacific Ocean and float away. Bye-bye, California. And you can't even find a good nug anywhere on the island.
Well, folks, there you have it. The Missouri Madman means business. We're going to kick this thing back to you, Bill.
Hey, give me that microphone and let me tell you a little secret about my life. I was born in the Fertile Crescent, where the Missouri River comes right up on the Mississippi. And it should be called the Missouri River because it's longer when they meet. I was born in the nutrients.
I got all the newts. You want nitrogen? I pulled it from the air, and I'm gonna put it down into God's green earth, and I'm gonna grow the best magic melon the world's ever seen.
There you have it. The madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill. Well, thanks, Bill. Canifest. What the fuck's this thing called? Canifest Bowl.
I like all forms of cannabis. Any cannabis you think you can grow.
Fucking cat. That was a dumb question anyway, right? Okay. Hey, thanks, Bill. Green Gene Terpene here, backstage at the Canifest Bowl Nationals. I'm joined by one of the growers from here in Missouri. The Missouri Madman. Missouri Madman, there's growers from... Tonight, I'm joined with the Missouri Madman.
Show me!
Missouri Madman. I like that. That was good up until there. And scene. Okay. I'm joined backstage here by the Missouri Madman.
This is the funniest shit.
Ozark Mountain Range, the oldest mountain range in the world. You don't think that soil's fertile? I'm joined here by the Missouri Madman. Missouri Madman, people.
Show me!
I'm joined by one of the growers here from Missouri, the Missouri Madman. Missouri Madman.
Show me!
There are... No, it's great. Missouri Madman.
Show me!
Growers from the other 3 states say that Missourians are pretty new to this whole thing.
Yeah, well, they're not. Really, they're not. Get it together, Steve.
Missouri Madman. Missouri Madman. Growers from the other 3 states say that Missourians are so new to this. Okay, here we go.
Sorry.
Here we go. I'll keep bumping it. I'll bump it. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Missouri Madman. Growers from the 3... All right.
Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead. Everyone you ever know loved is dead. Everyone's dead.
All right. Here we go. Lock it up. Missouri Madman. I make car parts for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about. Oklahoma's got a head start on Missouri as far as their cannabis program goes, and they have plenty of growers down there. What do you think about the competition down there?
I think everyone from Oklahoma stinks.
That's perfect. That's fucking great. That's so wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start with that again. Missouri Madman, Oklahoma's got a head start. Fucking Bobby Valley. A head start, dude.
25 large, and I'm gonna put my little mushroom stamp.
Maybe not.
Let me tell you one thing about Oklahoma. Roy Rogers.
I think it's Will Rogers.
He beat that horse is the deal to death. Oklahoma kills horses.
That's great. Well, you heard it, folks. The Missouri Madman means business. Stay tuned for the Autogrowathon. Some slots have just opened up. And if you go to canifest.com, you can still apply. Can you put that thing away?
Roy Rogers?
Will Rogers.
He stinks. It don't matter. It was a known fact that he stunk down there.
That's great. All right. The first question is, what brings you here?
What brings you here?
Did you ask for what you get for?
Okay.
Oh, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's just a place I take my dumps when I'm on the way to Texas to have fun and get a little bit of that good smoke.
Okay. Oh, well, you're right out there.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That's perfect, though. Thanks, Bill. Green Jean Terpene here, backstage at the Canifest Bowl Nationals, the Autogrowathon, a 4-state competition. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you to this game? I shit the bed on that open anyway.
In the Fertile Crescent of the Midwest, where the Missouri and the Mississippi.
Start it over. I got it.
We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
That's it, brother. It's gotta be it. That's it, brother. It's gotta be it. I'm actually sweating now, like a real wrestler.
Hey guys, it's just me. Guys, it's just me. There's a problem. There's a problem with Craig. He didn't want any of us to tell what happened, but he pooped in his pants. It's pretty gross. Is his juice thing? He's like, I think I gotta fart. He goes, I think I gotta fart real quick, and he goes and lifted up his leg and goes, and then Mike and I could tell from the sound it made that there's a lot more going on there than just a fart. Because it made a horrendous crunching, like someone spitting out the last bits of a Crunch bar that they had chewed up for a minute, like spitting it out. And the noise that when it came out was something I'll never forget. Something that will haunt Mike and I's dreams till the day we'd end. The stink that came out of this man from his juice is like nothing. So Craig had to go home and change his pants. Craig pooped his pants. And now we're here.
Bring you back.
Chat cam. Love the new dude. Steve wants to know, how many wigs do you have, Steve? That's a personal question. I prefer not to answer that. And that door's open, Mike. Just an FYI. And I got this cat running around here. Here, I got a much more interesting person than Craig to put on the show. What do you think, new Craig? Oh, you'll actually let me talk? Oh, what? I get a second to say something, new Craig? That's crazy. Huh. That's weird. He has a plethora. I do have a plethora of wigs. I haven't laughed this hard in 7 days. Oh, I got a message for you guys, the Hoosiers. You guys really warm my heart more than words can even describe. Are you wanting to get away? You just want to sit fancy? Everything I do it for you. Just like Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for you. Want some of that? Get some. That's good. You interested? There you go. Go ahead. Have a time. Have a good time. Don't knock that thing over. Everything I do it for you guys. That's the deal. See you later. Mike called her away. She wanted to stay, but Mike called her away. I love you guys. That's why I want to do 3 hours. I think we're doing good. Mike, yeah, I think we're doing some good. Let me turn your microphone's on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm down. I don't know about the Monday through Friday morning thing, but I'm definitely down for.
Well, you're just part of the good.
I'm trying.
You're such a good dude. I've seen from the first time we met a long time ago to seeing the twinkle in your eye now when you get to help people and spread the word and do little things that don't get noticed on a grand scheme. You're just always there for the little things to help when you can no questions asked and no like, hey, let's take a Facebook picture to show how I helped you move and do all this stuff.
Right.
Hey, found selfie. We're doing it. I
Yeah.
helped him move. And you move like one thing and be like, I actually got to pick up my kid in a little bit. Sorry. Yeah, I helped him move a box. Get the fuck out of here. You're part of the good, man. And the people watching this, just the love that we can show each other that we've proven is possible is one of the most powerful things I've ever been a part of in my life. And the goal is, I don't want to make any money off of like cannabis companies or anything right now. I can't do it. Like, it's a weird situation to be in because 2 or 3 years ago I was like, oh man, all the cannabis companies, and it's like, I'm native hemp. That's cannabis. That's cannabis oil right there. It's helping people. I just don't want to participate in something yet if I can't be a part of the change at its whole.
Yeah.
And I'm a hypocrite right now, I guess, because of the cannabis oil that we sell native hemp.
Yeah, you're helping.
Because that's we may call it hemp oil, but it's cannabis oil. That's like a legal workaround you got to use in Illinois.
Yeah.
But we are using cannabis oil to help people. So maybe the main goal is, I just want people to know that I'm not going to be bought and sold. You know, the highest bidder is not going to get the words out of my mouth. That's why I want to have a morning show. I want to have a show, you know, on the radio. You can't say certain things.
No.
On
FCC will get you.
if you have a certain other company that is being paid by advertisers who are like, well, don't say that and don't say this.
Yeah.
We don't have any advertisers that say, don't say this, don't. Even James Carlton, he doesn't even say, don't say this, don't say that. He's like, I trust you guys.
Yeah.
I see what you've done the last few years. I've seen where your hearts are at.
Yeah.
That's what I want to invest in. Yeah. I want to invest in a better city, and that's what we're trying to do. And learning along the way, what an experience it's been getting to know these people. Aubrey is kicking ass with cannabis oil, dude. It's melting. Try not to break your arm keeping him off Steve. Mike has the biggest heart around. Poor Craig. Sure hope you're okay. Flying to Denver, the most real, pure form ever.
Thanks, buddy.
But how's that poop situation, Craig? He's in the. He's probably in the car. Just he did a little wiping, and I gave him a pair of shorts to wear.
Yeah.
But man, that sound.
It stinks.
Ooh, still stinks down here a little bit too.
Bad.
I'm sitting in his chair, which is weird. I should have kept my chair.
Should have changed chairs.
Should have changed my chair. Shout out to the Matthews family. New little baby in the family. The washer tournament is the 26th. Please come to the washer tournament.
Yep, we'll all be there.
Fuck you. I'm not going to beg you to come. I'm not gonna, please come. Please come. No. If you want to participate in a beautiful thing for a beautiful family with a bunch of beautiful people, then come to it.
For sure.
If you don't want to do that, then you can leave. I don't care if you leave right now. Leave right now. It's a goddamn mess. Cannabis oil is saving lives. Every day we don't have cannabis legalized on a federal level where our doctors can learn about it, where our doctors cannot just recommend through a legal fucking loophole, just like Immaculate Conception. There's these legalities that just blow my mind. The psychology of being able to accept the concept of Immaculate Conception, but also go along with, yeah, that's just what we have to do. We have to say that weed never existed in Missouri before now, so we have to get somehow it's got to get here. Seeds and and we're all like, okay, yeah. And I was like, well, why don't we just change it from the top and like let everybody grow it? That's why we need to get on the rec bill. We need to get on something on paper. We could do it.
Oh,
we could do something. We could do something like that.
We just got
But I love you guys. I love all. Oh, his poop is a goddamn mess. That's what he was saying. It's like Mount Vesuvius. Didn't I see the? No, you always see a story about Congress voting on it. You always see, because the House will always vote on it. It'll always go to Congress, and they're like, well, we got to add this stipulation in there that brings Edward Snowden home and sends him. It's like, what's going on? What other bills are you adding into this thing that? It's ridiculous. They just put that in the paper every once in a while to satiate people. Guys, we got to get ready for bed. No, stay up for the end of this. How dare you Love each and every one of you. Put the phone down by your bed and let us talk you to sleep. Christopher, Rachel, Crawford. Christopher and Rachel, I want you guys to, everybody else turn the show off. Christopher and Rachel, I want you guys to put, again, everyone else turn the show off right now. Christopher and Rachel, hey guys, it's Steve. I'm sitting in the middle of your bed right now. Go ahead and put the phone down, face down. No, Mike's not here. Don't listen to him. I don't know. We'll bring Mike in here in a second. Turn the phone volume at a nice, reasonable level. Put it face down so there's no light. Now I want you guys to lay down and face each other. Stare deep into one another's eyes. Now, as you gaze into each other's pupils and realize how beautiful both of you are, listen to my voice. Rachel, I want you to insert 2 fingers into CJ's ass. Just 2. Start slow and just kind of ram them home. Now I'm going to walk you through the instructions of a good prostate milking. Everyone else, again, everyone else turn off the show. This is just for Christopher and Rachel Crawford. Are they gone? Are they there to leave, Mike?
No, everybody's still here.
Is Christopher Rachel Crawford here?
He might not be.
Okay, well, she's got a finger in his ass. I got to deal with this right now. Okay. CJ, just relax. Take a deep breath, okay? Oh, doesn't that feel good, CJ? Doesn't that feel good? Now she's going to do a come hither motion. Okay, Rachel? Now you're going to feel a little bean in there. Now I want you to rub it like it's a genie's lamp. Okay? All right. Okay, keep going. Oh, yeah. All right, Mike, now you start going, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got Mike in the room. Now Mike's watching.
Oh.
We're watching this happen. Oh, man. They're gone?
Yeah.
Okay, they're gone. They're not watching anymore. Okay, well, I don't know if they got on Twitter and decided to put the phone. But Jenny, don't oh my God me. I'm here alone right now. Okay, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I'm lost. I'm lost without Craig. We just got to go into streaming picks.
There we go. Streaming picks. What you watching this week?
We like movies. So do we. We like internet. So do you. It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. I like the internet too. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. Boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom.
What you watching this week,
Look
buddy?
at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. What would I say? Now I can know where we're running just as fast as we can. Doom, 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 doom. I've been watching America: The Story of Us.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. It's free.
All right.
It's like the watered down version of the history of America. You know, it's kind of what they taught you in the history books.
Yeah.
Just a very basic. I just needed to freshen up. Now that my kids are in virtual school, I want to freshen up on all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like
the good knowledge, like the truth. You know what
the
happened.
truth from some people's perspective.
Yeah, from some people's
I mean, it makes you proud to be an American a little bit. Like, you realize what America was meant to be from the beginning. That you realize, like, yeah. Because I always get hung up on the Indian stuff, the Native American stuff. I'm always like,
really
fuck.
built America?
Yeah, I'm like, we even call them Indians, and it's like, yeah, they thought it was the West Indies, and like all the whole bullshit, and we're like, yeah, look at.
Yeah.
The main thing I got from that I want to do personally is try to learn a lot more Native American legend.
Because what happens in 100 years? Are those stories all gone?
hope
The
not.
stories of our land are gone because they just die on reservations? Fuck that. So to get a glimpse of what the Revolutionary War was like and how the first Native Americans, without them, Europeans would have never lasted. Like, they came there and they're like, yeah, we're here. And they're like, oh, well, it's winter and it's rocky. And they're like, well, plant shit. And I go, you can't, idiot. Like, you're just bringing seeds. And, like, the first settlers struggled. And the fact that I think, like, 10% of the population can trace their roots back to the Pilgrims.
Wow.
Something insane like that.
That is insane.
Because they had a ton of kids. And up in that, up in the Boston area, it's all inbred. Friggin'.
Oh, is it?
Great. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't like Boston. But learning the history, I'm up to right after the Civil War on there. So seeing the Revolutionary War and how that we were supposed to be this place of freedom where if you worked hard, you could make it, man. You could do it. Because the rest of the world at that point, it's like, you're not a king or queen or anything, you idiot. Get out of here. Like, no, there's nothing for you. And to see how we built the Erie Canal, like what a game changer the Erie Canal was. And to see people traverse the Rockies and the Sierra Nevada, to see us get from coast to coast, how amazing it was. And I'm sure, obviously, like Sacagawea showed people the way through. I'm sure there were Native Americans helping, and we're just kind of like, well, these white guys found a way through the mountain. But then seeing the engineering that came, like, hey, we're going to build a railroad through this motherfucker and connect it. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And you forget that, shit changed when the railroad was finally connected. When the Erie Canal was built, it went from New York to the Midwest, so it could get to the Lake Erie and then filter out from there. That changed the game for New York. It built and made New York what it was. It had all this, everything blossomed up around that. And once you start to understand our history, you start to understand, like, one of the things I took from it, the Revolutionary War. Benjamin Franklin had the system, the mail system. Well, a lot of places, people didn't read. Like, a lot of people didn't read. Well, I think it was the Puritans or the people who came to Plymouth Rock. They had to read the Bible, so they had to learn how to read at a young age. They were all just being like, okay, well, we all know how to read. Well, that helped so much in the Revolutionary War because they could send messages, and it was so easily like, yeah, I can read, you can read, yeah, send these messages. Okay, cool. Now we're ahead of the game. And when the British we're the first army to beat the Empire of Great Britain. Like, we were the first guys to be like, oh no, man, we came to this land. It's ours now. Yeah. We're going to defend it. Even, negating the whole Native American. Because I wish I knew more of what their story was from their perspective. We're only getting one perspective.
Yeah, one side.
Like, what did the natives think? What were their first journal entries be when the white man came to their beaches?
Something interesting to see.
Is there anything like that out there?
I don't know. It's maybe we should look that up.
And I'm also here, so watch it out. America, the Story of Us. It's pretty neat. You don't have to watch it if you want to brush up. It's kind of fun to throw on in the background and be like, oh. And every once in a while they'll go, this is the journal of Jimmy Fitzsimmons, and he was a Revolutionary War soldier that came from here and went there. And another interesting thing, since I'm right after the Civil War, now I'm to wear cowboys. Okay. So the Midwest, they said there's a Homestead Act. If you can pay $10, you can go get as many acres as you want out in Nebraska and shit.
Really?
Because out there, these locust swarms would come, just eat all the plants.
Destroy everything.
Well, then they became extinct. So the people who came out there, that's why the Midwest is the breadbasket of America. They were like, the locusts are extinct. We can grow all the crops here. Then they learned in Texas, because there was no railroad coming to Texas yet. The railroad just went east to west. Yeah. They would have to meet in Kansas. Well, that's where cowboys came in, because then we needed to feed America after the Civil War. So then all of these guys who had guns were trained. Were like, shit, the South lost the war. What are we going to do? Yeah. We'll become fucking cowboys, man. We'll ride these horses and take these cattle, and then we'll settle the Great Plains. And that was there were only 80 buffalo left at one point. Wow. There were 60 million. there was a herd that was 30 miles long.
Holy cow.
So from downtown to, Chesterfield
Yeah.
or whatever, a herd of buffalo.
Wow.
And we got them down to 80.
Holy cow.
Because if you were far enough away with the gun, you could shoot one of them, and if you killed it instantly, shot it through the lungs or heart, the other buffaloes would just be like, "What just happened? Oh, never mind." So you could shoot a bunch of them. We got them down to 80. So I just wish there could have been more harmony, but a lot of the problems were Europeans had been living on top of each other for so long in their own filth that they developed all these immunities. So even when they went and hung out and were friends with the Native Americans, they would kill them by disease.
Yeah.
So it was a tough go. All of these Native Americans, they were doing different things for hygiene and stuff like that. They weren't living on top of each other, creating sickness and bacteria and having to learn immunities to them. So the scales were already tipped when the Europeans first got there. So it's always nice to revisit history, especially of America. And maybe, I feel like sometimes immigrants have a better knowing of what America is. Like if you talk to an Uber driver, if you get a good Uber driver and he's like, dude, I came here to work. I can make money driving this car, send some back to my family in Cuba or wherever, and then make some here, and I can still live a good life. And he's like, you don't understand the value of that. Where I'm from, they give you a certain amount of money. They say, this is your job and this is what you're doing.
That's it.
All right, good luck. This is what you do. And it's like, well, can I work hard? Well, no. The boss's son or whoever is going to get that promotion. That's what's going to, you can't work your way up. And so when I get a good story like that, I'm like, damn, I forget America is pretty dope. Because a lot of times we're stuck in a cycle of saying, make America great again, or America's shitty. This is all shitty right now. Look at Trump's America. Look at Biden's America. Look at this bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, our principles, even though kind of like, all men are created equal.
Nah.
Except for these guys and gals back here.
Yeah, there's a few elite.
Yeah, there's a few back there. So they're like even all this stuff, but the idea behind being free, getting, off the war on drugs, being really free, all of this stuff connects to kind of not living outside the law, but how free are you? Yeah. How free can you be?
We're limited, but
yeah. So that was my pick, and I'm here to say Umbrella Academy kind of sucks. I don't know. It's all right.
Into it?
It's all right. There's just a lot of
many
things that
episodes are you
happen. I have to release a little bit because
How
I
many
watched
episodes
second season episode 3 or 4.
Oh, so you've already gone through and you're just not.
How are they going to leave you with an ending like that? I do like how they took the one person I was hating and switched them. I won't give too much away, but I can tell you afterwards. And I'm not a huge fan of the chick who plays Vanya as an actress. I don't like her. But it just, I thought it was good. I just thought it could have been a little better. I thought the story was just a little lacking. Yeah. It was there for a really good story. Mm-hmm. In the time travel, I'm always like, why didn't they try and travel and do that? Yeah. Why didn't they time travel and do that? Why didn't he just, if it's a comic book movie and I'm constantly going, why didn't he do that? The Marvel does a good job being like, oh, he came in, swooped down, boom, hit him, boom, gone. Yeah. It's not like, I have Thor's hammer and he didn't use it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why didn't he use his hammer? What is he doing? What is he doing over there? It left me with a lot of questions like that because their powers are so, like the rumor chick.
Yeah.
All day, every day. All day, every day. She's like, no, I got principles now. It's like, get the fuck. Anything. You can make the world a lot better if you rumored the shit out of some stuff. But she's like, I can't do that. So, unpopular opinion.
All right. So,
you have as many viewers as Buffalo back then. 6. 80? That would be our most. That would be our most. Everybody left for. Oh, we're up to 11. We were at 7 when Craig was here. So fuck you. Everybody's watching. We have 400 people on YouTube right now watching.
Fucking right.
Mike, what have you been watching?
So you probably won't like Lovecraft Country then. That's definitely out there. It's weird. It leaves you asking questions every episode, but for some reason I can't stop watching it.
What's it called?
There's only 4 episodes right now. The 4th one came out today. Me and Joe watched it. It's all over the place. It's set back in the time period of the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
So it's got a. I really don't want to give too much information. It's good, but you with the questions with the Umbrella Academy, how you think this needs to go this way or why this didn't happen, you'll have that through all of Lovecraft Country. It's definitely out there. I mean, you really need to smoke some good CBD flower and sit back and try to watch it. But I started Cobra Kai today because I'm a karate kid. What do you got?
Okay. Is it, if they do it right, like I like Back to the Future and I like Dark Mirror, does this show do the time travel and the weird stuff in a way that can be explained logically?
No time travel.
Oh.
Not in Lovecraft Country. It's only just because of the different scenarios that happen throughout just make you like, why did that happen? And then it jumps to a whole nother scene. So it kind of leaves you hanging at one point, but later on you got to kind of remember. You can't just stop it and pick it up later. You got to follow through.
Okay.
So Cobra Kai started today because I was a Karate Kid guy, and it's bringing back some old memories.
Nostalgia like a mofo, mofo, ho, 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 yeah.
Hey, I don't know what you walked in on. Thank you, Brian. 12 viewers now. I'm killing it. I am crushing it right now. Mike and I are crushing it. Brian Kessler, when are we going to do a little live guitar at the Spanish Society? Okay, we need to do it. I don't know, COVID, whatever. Guys, I love you. I love these motherfuckers, man. They're changing my life.
Man. They are.
You're changing my life trajectory.
Everybody is.
I just want to do the best I can. I just want to use what I've gained over the years and the knowledge and the fucking beautiful people. Like, I hate Brian Kessler, but he's one of the most beautiful people of all time, and I'm glad I've surrounded myself by people like him, like Craig, like you. You know what I mean? I'm glad I've kept a core group, and the Sophisticated Hoosiers has become an extension of the core group.
Yes.
And they're their own cores. I don't want to make it seem like everything starts with Craig and I, and then fucking split, me and then Craig and then
everybody's
everybody.
kind of creating their own little thing.
No. Yeah, if we're a neuron central that's teaching about love, I want another whole neural network, because guess what? We popped up because of Duncan Trussell and Joe Rogan and people who led the way before the stupid shit we're doing now. Yeah. Like, I want to live in the now, focus on being better, and love the fuck out of these people. And wake up feeling good, feeling love, feeling like I can do better, and help people who don't feel that yet.
Yep.
It's the name of the game, baby. All right, I think you got the N logos.
Oh, yes, sir.
But remember one thing. Craig, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. This is a message to Craig. Everybody, turn your phones off, or computers or whatever. Turn it all off right now. Craig, buddy. Hey, you pooped your pants tonight, okay? You've had better nights, and it's okay. I forgive you. Mike forgives you. I promise we won't tell anyone in your family. I know I wasn't supposed to tell anyone, but I figured I owed it to our audience to at least tell them that you just squooged all in your underwear. It was weird, and the fact that you had taken your underwear off earlier and pooped right into the wood on my wooden chair here that I'm sitting in now. It's weird. You should wear pants when you're doing this show from now on. It's a new rule, Craig. Wear pants. Dude, I'm going to need you to wear pants when you do this show from now on. Craig, I hope you feel better, buddy. Everybody out there in TV land, we'll see you in 2 and 2.
I don't have the end.
The end logos are right down there.
They're not.
Yeah, they are. Keep going.
Yeah,
Keep going. Keep going. Hold on. Keep going. That's it? That's the bottom? Go up a little bit. Oh, check above Deaf Lion.
Dead Lion.
Keep going up.
Yeah, scene 2.
Maybe it's scene 2. Click on it. See what it is. Somebody didn't name it, Mike. That's a travesty. And that was me. I apologize. I blame Craig, though. Guys, good night. I don't think the audio is on for that anyway, but it doesn't matter because Steve is talking. I said meeting go do all day. And here we go, little baby Joe. Here we go when we shopping. There we go when we're shopping, shop. Shoot, shop. You didn't stop the stream.